Chapter 279, Ascension 2. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Kagugugu. A powerful spatial storm surges beyond us. After boarding the replicated Nether crossing ship, I grab the helm. The controls are easier than the original. Kagugugu. Recalling the memory of having sailed the Nether crossing ship before, I cross through the spatial rift along with the replicated ship. Wawoom. The Nether crossing ship protects us from the spatial storm. Instead of the interdimensional passage I saw crossing the Ascension gate, it's just a void existing within the head realm. For typical cultivators at the heavenly being stage, that is, cultivators who do not use the Ascension gate, how do they ascend? It's simple. Those who can feel the pull of fate are the cultivators at the heavenly being stage, and the middle realm naturally attracts strong cultivators. If one can catch this flow and head above, their ascension is successful. If they fail to grasp it properly, they foolishly drift in the void and die. That is the typical ascension. I can feel it. The attraction from the middle realm is calling for me. Normally, I should ride this pull and seize the opportunity to ascend in one go. That would naturally require staying in the void to observe the flow of this pull. But I have no time for that. Boom. I raise the colorless glass sword. Once again, the three great ultimates appear behind my head. Guang. To put it simply, ascending is like shooting an arrow on a battlefield, overcoming numerous obstacles and hitting the target. Feeling the flow of attraction is like recognizing the enemy commander. Riding this flow is like calculating the wind direction, obstacles, and distance before shooting the arrow. That is ascension. But Kagugugu. Spatial waves split apart under my sword strike, creating a massive path. It's a path leading to the middle realm. In a sense, I'm not shooting an arrow, but firing a cannon. Wind direction, obstacles, distance, none of that is needed. Just pierce through everything and hit the target directly. Like a brutish tank, we split the void and ascend. It's done, we're on it. The pull emanating from the middle realm. The space I reached the last time I ascended through the Ascension gate. The place cultivators call the interdimensional void. Shiyik. Countless scenes rush by our surroundings, heading downward. The vast universe, the shape of the stars. Everything is just as I had seen before. However, what's different this time is Kagugugu. I am ascending through the spatial storm, feeling the pressure with my bare body without any defense. John Myung-hoon is physically weaker than me, so he is protecting his body with spells and holding Yun-jin in one arm, shielding him together. I stand at the forefront of the replicated Nether crossing ship, enduring the strongest spatial pressure entirely with my bare body. Was the view like this before? Previously, the space was so harsh that just enduring it felt like it would drive me insane. But now, I am ascending through the interdimensional void leisurely, as if going on a tour. Suddenly, far beyond the mixed scenes of space in my sight, something is wriggling over there. That is, it's something I had seen before. A strange life form swimming through the spatial waves of the interdimensional void, imbued with the energy of the heavenly being stage. It makes sense now. The first time I ascended, the green-armored wooden man I met was wary, saying, "Isn't this a monster from outside the world that has entered in human form?" And when I was a governor for the human race-occupied territory, I had some access to information about the Heaven-Earth Palace. The Human Race Grand Alliance planned to turn the Void Spirit Pond into a flying, immortal platform like the Heaven-Earth Palace, making the documents accessible. Through them, I could see one of the duties of those managing the Heaven-Earth Palace's flying immortal platform. To prevent the strange life forms drifting in the interdimensional void from entering the middle realm. That was it. What exactly are these creatures that the Heaven-Earth Palace is trying to block from entering? The Heaven-Earth Palace is not managed by the human race alone, but by the Heaven and Earth tribes as a collective. In short, the writhing mass-like strange life form is an entity that the Heaven and Earth tribes together try to prevent from entering this world. Wriggle. It's when I'm looking at it. Suddenly, I feel its intentions with my fourth sense. Food. Kagugugu. From afar, I see the strange life form swimming freely through the spatial pressure flying towards us. Damn it, it didn't even glance at me last time. Why now? Thinking back, I had reached treading heavens at that time, so while my actual power was at the nascent soul stage, my cultivation realm was just hovering around the chi gathering stage. Is it because of the spiritual energy inside me? Kagugugu. I ponder what to do with the incoming strange life form. But then, John Myung-hoon extends his hand. Kurururum. A red lightning flashes through the interdimensional void, instantly frying the strange life form. Wait, John Myung-hoon. Hold on a bit. What now? Why? Do you even know what it is to so recklessly? Just then, Heek. With a chilling shriek, the strange life form, having pierced through John Myung-hoon's lightning, charges at the replicated Nether crossing ship. John Myung-hoon's expression is one of utter shock. I too, startled, reach out my hand. Kagugugu. The power of the 5 elements swirl in my hand and shoot towards the strange life form. a blow that would be fatal even to a typical cultivator at the heavenly being stage. However, the strange life form does not dodge the attack, but continues charging straight through it. I frown, drawing the formless sword. It has an immense resistance to the 5 elements. This isn't normal. Then the answer is to grind it down with physical force. Boom. Chung. It's when I split the creature's body with the formless sword. I feel a strange sense of déjà vu from the creature. What is this? It feels familiar. With that thought, I raise the formless sword again to completely slice up the creature's body. But at that moment, Ki-Aik. The bisected creature does not die, but suddenly starts thrashing around wildly. Why? As I wonder, something familiar bursts forth from the creature's entire body. Kururum. It's heavenly tribulation. The creature is emitting heavenly tribulation from its entire body. Seeing the familiar golden heavenly tribulation, I'm startled. This isn't just one simple golden heavenly tribulation. From the creature, a familiar, colorless, heavenly tribulation is also being emitted. Surprisingly, this colorless heavenly tribulation appears to share the same properties as my formless sword. After emitting heavenly tribulation from its entire body for a while, the creature entirely explodes due to the heavenly tribulation. Or rather, since it also contained the power of my colorless heavenly tribulation, it didn't explode, but rather seemed to slice itself up. With the unexpected turn of events, I stand dumbfounded, watching the remnants of the creature being swept away by the spatial storm. What in the world was that? And then I finally realize where I have felt that strange sense of déjà vu from the creature. Han 1, Y Ryang Xian, Black Dragon King Hien Yum, Girain. Integration stage. Or perhaps it's a feeling similar to the domain power sensed from those who had attempted the integration stage. But the actual power it possessed was at the level of the heavenly being stage. I ponder the identity of this creature and sigh, deciding to focus on ascending for now. There might not just be one or two of such strange life forms, and there's no rule saying stronger ones don't exist. And shortly after, as expected, these mindless strange life forms continue to attack us. To think having so much heaven and earth spiritual energy causes such annoyances. Apparently, normal heavenly being stage cultivators have to deal with these strange life forms while ascending, or flee from them while ascending, or escape from them while ascending. I'm realizing it anew, but it's no wonder that ascenders are given special treatment in the bright cold realm. Breaking through all this and succeeding in ascension means one is truly a formidable cultivator. I simultaneously realize again just how incredible people like Jean Bayuk Ho, Azure Tiger Saint, and White Bone Ghost Devil are. Even though there were quite a few heavenly being stage cultivators in the sect, carrying the entire sect members to ascend adds enormous pressure. To do so while protecting them from these strange life forms during ascension is truly remarkable. It's mind-boggling. Quadragigic. Fortunately, these creatures seem extremely susceptible to the power of the Heart Tribe, so swinging the formless sword causes the heavenly tribulation inside them to surge and explode on their own. Young Hoon Hyungnim must have ascended quite comfortably. It's while I continue to ascend with these thoughts. Master, there seems to be something big down below. Hong Fan points downwards. As he said, a presence surpassing even the grand perfection of the heavenly being stage can be felt below, so John Myung-hoon and I move together. John Myung-hoon assists me, and I wield the formless sword. John Myung-hoon takes a breath and says, "It seems like that monster down there might be the last one around here. I don't feel any more energy besides that one. All right, let's push a little harder." Then, we head to the rear of the replicated Nether Crossing ship to prepare for the attack. Flash. My heavenly tribulation mixes with John Myung-hoon's lightning path method and strikes down. Quagwagwang. The creature at the level of the 4-axis stage bursts into pieces, and John Myung-hoon defends against the heavenly tribulation emitted from the strange life form with his lightning path method, so it wouldn't reach the replicated Nether Crossing ship. And just as we are about to move forward again, wait, Seo Eun-hyun, isn't there something over there? HM, what do you mean? I follow John Myung-hoon's finger pointing downward, and then, huh, Master. I wake up to Hong Fan waving one hand towards me. What is it? My head is a mess. Looking around, I am still on the replicated Nether Crossing ship, continuously ascending. For some reason, there's vomit all around me, and whether Hong Fan had slapped my cheek to wake me, my cheek is numb. I realize that my consciousness has momentarily cut off. What in the world? My consciousness suddenly flew away for a moment. And then I know why my consciousness had disappeared. I saw something. I saw what John Myung-hoon pointed at. And then, I suddenly feel nauseous as if my stomach is turning over, and I vomit outside the replicated Nether Crossing ship. Goer. I remember. No, not exactly. But certainly. I certainly saw something really, extremely, exceedingly, profoundly disgusting and revoltingly repulsive. The revulsion hasn't completely passed, and I can't stop vomiting. What is it? What exactly did I see? But since I can't remember at all, I shake my head and ask Hong Fan. Hong Fan, how long was I unconscious for? Fortunately, it's only been half a day. Master and Sir Myung-hoon did not wake up, so the replicated nether crossing ship took on all the spatial pressure, and now its durability is almost worn out. I hastily run to the front to withstand the spatial pressure. What about John Myung-hoon? I ask, feeling that the replicated nether crossing ship is considerably shakier than before. Hong Fan replies to my question. I'm going to wake him up now. I thought it was more important to wake Master up first. Thanks, I appreciate it. I glance at Hong Fan's hand. He must have slapped my cheek hard enough to break his own hand. My cheek, trained in demon beast methods, is more solid than steel. Probably in terms of sheer hardness, it's harder than Hong Fan, who is a demon beast himself. Hong Fan had struck my cheek hard enough to shatter his own hand. Thump, thump. Soon after, Hong Fan starts to slap John Myung-hoon's cheek, who is rolling around on the deck. Shortly thereafter, John Myung-hoon also wakes up. John Myung-hoon, are you okay? However, John Myung-hoon seems somewhat dazed, and unlike me who vomited immediately upon regaining consciousness, he appears to be in a strangely tranquil state. Somewhat flush-faced, he still seems to be in a state of bliss. I realize he isn't fully sober yet, and say, Hong Fan, hit him more. Yes, master. At that, Hong Fan, a demon of the transformation stage, ruthlessly slams his full power onto John Myung-hoon's head. Quong. John Myung-hoon's head inevitably explodes, and after regenerating his head, John Myung-hoon speaks with a dissatisfied face. Damn it. Use words. I was coming to my senses. John Myung-hoon. I asked with a stern face. Do you remember what you saw during the Ascension? You just lost consciousness. What I saw. It's then. Drip. John Myung-hoon suddenly starts crying. Why is this happening? I furrow my brows, not understanding as I read his intent. A sense of loss? Right now, he's experiencing a profound sense of loss. I think. I saw something incredibly blissful. I don't know exactly what it was, but it felt so nostalgic. Yes, like when I was a child, playing joyfully under the care of a maid, and when the maid's sister would read me fairy tales, it felt so genuinely happy, like those old times. He clutches his chest with a hollow feeling and says, well, it seems it was a hallucination. Perhaps one of those bizarre life forms used some illusion on me. It was my fault for being careless. Sorry, I feel strange hearing that. Why did he see the exact opposite of what I did? I seem to have seen something truly horrific and disgusting. Why then did he see the exact opposite? It's incomprehensible. An illusion from the life form? I somehow feel that wasn't it. If it was an illusion cast by a life form, we would have all been eaten and annihilated, causing my regression. But that didn't happen. It definitely had to be something other than a bizarre life form. I feel uneasy, yet at the same time, somewhat relieved. At least, it's not a dream. After waking up from the salt pillar, I had been anxious that this very moment might still be a dream within that salt pillar. What if this is still a dream within a dream? But just having seen that horrific thing made it clear. This is definitely not a dream. I can't know for sure, but what I saw was something that could not possibly manifest in a dream. Something so dreadful that its mere appearance in someone's dream would be a desecration. That was what I had seen. I am not dreaming right now. Confident in this, I sigh with relief and make sure not to look down again. We continue for several days, being careful not to look downward as we ascend from the head realm to the middle realm. We're almost there. Kagugugu. Gradually, the attraction from the bright cold realm grows stronger and clearer. Soon, we should see the dimensional barrier of the bright cold realm. Just when I think so. Puhak! Exclamation point. John Myung-hoon and I simultaneously gather our strength. A massive bizarre life form appears above us, opening a mass of flesh that seems to be its mouth. Kagugugu. Keek. It's a monster at the late 4-axis level. Somehow, it had hidden among the spatial storms of the void, avoiding even my sight, and suddenly attacked us. Such diverse abilities. I click my tongue at the bizarre abilities this monster possesses as I draw out the formless sword. Ching. Its mouth has already engulfed the entire ship we are on. However, I give it no thought and swing my sword directly. Boom. I hardly exert any force. Perhaps because of that, the monster does not split apart, but signs of heavenly tribulation brewing furiously are evident all over its body. Heap. Finally, the creature swallows us completely. Ho! And as we plunge into the monster's body, we all exclaim in astonishment. Surprisingly, there is a world inside the strange life form. Not a real world, but a tiny one. A small world, about 10,000 square meters, that should rather be called a pocket dimension. SSSSSHHH. There's a tiny island there. About 100 square meters, truly minuscule. The island is surrounded entirely by seawater. and the sky is a night sky, filled with strange constellations I have never seen before. Just what in the world are they? They felt like integration stage cultivators, but to think they have a domain within the body like integration stage cultivators as well. Kagugugu, I exclaim as I see the heavenly tribulation boiling in the sky. Oh, even if integration stage cultivators experience the heart tribe's manifestation, they don't have heavenly tribulation seething within their domain like this. Strange. These are bizarre creatures that accomplished what integration stage cultivators couldn't, yet they possess energy and strength only equivalent to the heavenly being and four-axis stage. Kagugugu. The colorless heavenly tribulation falls, filling the entire world. We defend against the heavenly tribulation and wait. After a while, we feel the small world inside the monster gradually collapse. It's collapsing on its own, unable to withstand the heavenly tribulation bomb. Ching, ching. The night sky splits open, and through it, we can see the familiar void we had come from. Just a little more to the bright cold realm. That's when it happens. Seeing. Suddenly, I feel the immortal beast essence blood within me stir wildly. The blood is reacting to a pull. What's this? It's telling me not to simply follow the pull of the middle realm, but to follow it instead. But at the same time, I feel the nether crossing ship, although a replica, whining as it's infused with ghostly energy, suggesting another path of attraction. What is this? Before I know it, I can sense a dimensional barrier far away, endless like the sea. Breaking through that barrier will lead us to the middle realm, the bright cold realm. Entering there will likely bring us out at the flying immortal platform of the Heaven-Earth Palace. However, I feel a premonition that following these other pulls will lead us to a different place, not the flying immortal platform of the Heaven-Earth Palace. What should I do? After a moment of contemplation, I decide to head towards the flying immortal platform of the Heaven-Earth Palace. I'm not alone. I have John Myung-hoon, Yun Jin, and Hong Fan's lives to consider, and there's no need to gamble. Entering, I strike the dimensional barrier with the formless sword. Huaong. The replicated nether crossing ship fails to withstand the final impact and shatters, scattering beyond the dimension, and we finally succeed in ascending to the bright cold realm. Translator notes. I decided to lock chapter 277 to 1 coin and reduce this chapter's price by 1 coin to prevent confusion. By the way, I recommend waiting around 5 minutes after an advanced chapter is posted to start reading. This is because currently, there's an issue with editing the chapters, so if there's any problems that occur when uploading, I have to resort to deleting and re-uploading. Chapter 280, Grand Cultivator's Power. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Flash. As we leap over the dimensional barrier, we find ourselves in a familiar territory. Is this Heaven-Earth Palace? It's John Myung-hoon's first time setting foot in the Heaven-Earth Palace. The first time he was here, he had been sealed inside Jean Byako's Peach Garden painting. He looks around, and inspectors from the Heaven-Earth Palace begin flying towards us. Ho ho! This is the flying immortal platform connected to the head realm. But the time for the Ascension gate to open has long passed. How come? Then, our eyes meet. Their faces stiffen as they recognize me, who once had a bounty placed on my head by Penglai Palace. Simultaneously, I feel a massive consciousness sweeping over me from within the depths of the Heaven-Earth Palace. Han1 has noticed me. The Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique is powerful, but I am quite confident. I, Co Eun-hyun, wish to speak with Grand Cultivator Han1, the Palace Lord of Penglai Palace and the Heaven-Earth Palace. The warrant issued by the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect has been lifted by none other than John Myung-hoon here, the highest authority of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect. Crack. Space splits open, and a gust of dust surges through. From within the dust storm, a middle-aged man appears. He grows a solemn beard, his head adorned with a manjin, traditional Korean headband, with his hair in a songtu, top-knot hairstyle, dressed in a purple robe. Wawoom. That's Han1. I glimpse a fiercely burning light in Han1's eyes. The light draws a black and white taiji symbol within each of his pupils. Yunwei mentioned that Han1 seems to have acquired a powerful new spiritual eye ability recently. I heighten my alertness. Indeed, what will he do to me? I cautiously bow, glancing at John Myung-hoon. John Myung-hoon nods, affirming my statement. He speaks the truth. As Co Eun-hyun said, he is no longer wanted by the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect. Han1 looks at us intently for a while, and then falls silent. I try to read Han1's intention but fail. Damn, I thought he was just in his ordinary state, but he's enveloped by his domain. Reading him is futile. Nevertheless, Han1 continues to observe us with his unique spiritual eyes. After a while, he slowly speaks. Fine. There's no need to capture you. After all, what I'm after is Jean Wei. Han1 turns his head, and the spatial rift he had created seems to close. But then, dodge. I quickly push John Myung-hoon, Hong Fan, and Yun Jin out of the way. At the same time, a massive palm strike swirling with the yin and yang of Taiji surges towards me, and I grit my teeth. Damn it, I can feel it. This strike will kill me unless I unleash the 3 great ultimates. Boom. I conceal the aura of the formless sword as much as I can and swing the 3 great ultimates at the palm strike. Kagugugu. And I feel the heaven and earth spiritual energy crazily pressing down on me. Chiak, Chiak. He steps out from the spatial rift again. Beyond the scattered dust cloud, I can see Han One's eyes. The look in his eyes is piercingly sharp. The character for Inspect, Jan, now floats in his eye. ZZZT, ZZZT, ZZZT. I bite my lip as I look up at the sky. A vision of fate appears in the celestial energy. In the very near future, I see myself fighting Han One. At first, I was doubtful, but now it's clear. Wawum. The integration stage Grand Cultivator begins to exert his power. You are of the Heart Tribe. Quam. The next moment, his palm strikes again. Xiong. I couldn't even react properly and was smashed through the Heaven-Earth Palace, burying myself into a mountain range within the palace's central territory. Do-do-do-do-do. The dragon vein trembles, the earth shakes, and volcanoes erupt. The entire heaven and earth spiritual energy vibrates, and Han One's voice envelopes the entirety of the area. I always had my suspicions. The law enforcers of Penglai Palace who tried to control the puppets you made all suffered from madness. And now I understand why you were so strong. You were secretly mastering not only heaven and earth dual cultivation, but also the power of the Heart Tribe. I spit out a mouthful of blood and retort just as fiercely. What's wrong with mastering the power of the Heart Tribe? I am a legitimate Heaven Tribe member. If you were merely of the Heaven Tribe, it wouldn't matter. However, you openly obstructed the human race Grand Alliance's campaign against the Devil Realm. You triggered madness with your puppets using the power of the Heart Tribe. And you used a technique suspected to be of the Blood-Ean realm on my daughter and law enforcer, Han Wei. I clench my teeth. Did he discover the traces of the mysterious bizarre goo I implanted? Damn it. Normally, almost no traces remain once they're removed. It seems to be because of those eyes. Moreover, since the disappearance of Thunder Spirit Island, the power of the Heaven Tribe has weakened. I cannot simply let you go. You, who were suspected to be a spy of the Heart Tribe, a spy of the Blood-Ean realm, and a spy for the recently notorious Mad Lord. Wawum. I sensed the flow of intent in the heaven and earth spiritual energy. I couldn't read it earlier because he was wrapped in his domain, but now, as he begins to expand his domain, I begin to see the flow of his intent. Catching on to his intention, I spit out fiercely. Ridiculous. Regardless of being a spy, were you not planning to kill me from the start? Oh, you're quite perceptive. Indeed, you're right. Flash. Before I know it, the glint of the flying escape technique sparks before my eyes, and Han One suddenly arrives in front of me. You and John Myong-hoon, who once again destroyed the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. Neither of you needs to be alive. Moreover, by openly bringing along the descendant of Jean Wei, can you prove that you did not collude with her and contribute to the downfall of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect? Wait, we have sustained the lineage of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect in the lower realm. Are you trying to argue that after killing someone and burying only part of their body underground, the microorganisms that lived inside that person are still alive under the ground? No, what is that even? You continued the lineage in the lower realm? Good for you. Shall I wait another 40,000 years for the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect of the lower realm to rise up? Boom. Quam. Covered in the glow of the flying escape technique, Han One's fist slams into my face. Flash. Suddenly, I'm flying from the eastern end to the northern end of the central territory of Heaven-Earth Palace. Crazy. It's merely the flying escape technique. Covered only by the flying escape technique, he moved insanely fast. Thankfully, it's at least possible to react, unlike with Kim Young-hoon. No choice. Now that it has come to this, I have to fight. Burning with determination, I visualize the 3 great ultimates behind me. Pot. The flying escape technique of the Heaven Tribe, the physical body of the demon race, the acceleration of the Heart Tribe. Combining everything, it feels as though the world has come to a halt. And in that halted world, I prepare myself for death and take out the white red wine to drink. Boom. The colorless glass sword becomes even more synchronized with me. Come, Han. Before I can fully regain my senses, Han One's palm has once again crossed space to strike my head. Jewing. But this time, I dodge his palm and cut through space. Gee. Moving at a speed that even sound can't catch up with, we exchange thousands of blows in midair. His great mountain-splitting emperor technique, due to being a method of heaven and earth dual cultivation, seems to allow him to move his body better than other Heaven Tribe cultivators. He wields the power of yin and yang in his left hand and the 5 elements in his right, continuously assaulting me while I draw upon the full power of heaven, earth, and heart, even incorporating the Mad Lord circuits throughout my body. Boom. Chiung. His palm and the tip of my sword collide. Kugugugugugu. Due to that shockwave, the central territory of Heaven-Earth Palace, larger than the head realm itself, melts into a sea of lava. In the lower realms, such a strike would have destroyed the world several times over. John Myung-hoon can't keep up with our fight and only protects Yun Jin and Hong Fan. However, I, managing to fight Han Won to a considerable extent, am actually dripping cold sweat. This guy still has reserves left. The longer our duel lasts, and the more we exchange blows directly, the easier it becomes to read his intent. He is quite surprised. An intent that means it's surprising to him that I am holding my own against an integration stage cultivator like him. That is all. He does not think for a moment that he might lose to me. I heard you were at the nascent soul stage, but the enlightenment I feel from you seems to be at the heavenly being. Did you advance recently? I exchange blows with Han Won without any chance to answer his question. Every time he throws a punch, the very dimension of the Heaven-Earth Central Territory contorts. Every time I swing my sword, thousands of spatial rifts form. As a heavenly being, to think you could exchange blows with an integration stage cultivator, to this extent, unmatched in 10 million years before and 10 million years after. You are truly a once-in-an-epic genius. And having created a debt to such a genius, it would be better to kill you quickly. Chong. Han Won aims a kick at me. From the perspective of martial arts, while there is precision, there are many openings. However, the sheer force behind the kick is so overwhelming that, despite knowing the gaps, I can't counter. Damn it. I put all my effort into blocking his kick. Kugugugu. Just that sends me flying from the northern end to the southern end of the Heaven-Earth Central Territory. Shi. Even though I raised my arms to block, it feels as though my internal organs have been thoroughly shaken. I look at my arm. Han Won's footprint is distinctly imprinted on it. Tribulating heavens, Earth Tribe's defensive power, defensive spell techniques, and yet there's still a mark left. The problem is that this isn't even his full power. Well, I've had fun. Now off you go. Kugugugu. The heaven and earth spiritual energy vibrates and begins to bind me. He's using that technique. I feel a chill and quickly escape the constriction of yin and yang and 5 elements before it can fully secure me. Wawoom. And as I look up to see Han Won folding space above, I grit my teeth. What a bother. Can't you just quietly let it happen? I smirk. I know your attack pattern. Using the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique, you'd annihilate anyone. But what's the point if it doesn't hit? No? Purely in terms of speed, Han Won is absolutely below Kim Young-hoon. Therefore, having reacted to Kim Young-hoon's speed, I can surely dodge Han Won's techniques. Right. If it doesn't hit, it's meaningless. That was what I thought. Kugugugu. What? I see. Across the entire central territory of Heaven-Earth, the bindings of yin and yang appear. Then try dodging this. Wawoom. Han Won placed himself within the bind. Yin and yang and 5 elements. They cover everything between heaven and earth. Great Mountain. Insane. My eyes bloodshot. I run towards the Heaven-Earth Palace. The entire central territory is the domain. The bright cold realm is immeasurably wider than the head realm. And the central territory of Heaven-Earth Palace is also much larger than the head realm. Just escaping from this place will take ages. I miscalculated. I shouldn't have confronted Han Won. Had I fled madly from the start, I could have preserved my life. After all, Han Won does not leave the central territory. I finally reach Heaven-Earth Palace and spot John Myung-hoon protecting Hong Fan and Yun Jin. John Myung-hoon, Hong Fan, Yun Jin, Kwong. As soon as I arrive, I strike down the flying immortal platform and crush the dimensional barrier. Get out. Get out now. And then, Han Won's voice bellows thunderously throughout heaven and earth. Emperor splitting. Get out. Kwong. Having punched a hole in the dimension, I barely manage to push John Myung-hoon, Hong Fan, and Yun Jin out beyond the bright cold realm. And I, by a hair's breadth, fail to dodge Han Won's attack. The world is engulfed in light. Where am I? Suddenly, I realize I am standing amidst pitch darkness. No, that isn't it. This is the void. So that's it. Han Won's attack had obliterated the entire Heaven-Earth Central Territory. Wawoom. I notice a few void spirit pawns around this void. I see. So is this the pure original form of the flying, immortal platform? One of the void spirit pawns is rippling. It seems to be the one I had used to send them back. I need to move. My hands and feet wouldn't move. No, that's not it. It's not that my hands and feet lack sensation. It's that I have no hands and feet. I realize that my entire body, trained in the Azure Spirit Starlight Quintessence Great Method, is squashed like dough, floating aimlessly through space. Only my head still retains some form, but I feel my life fading fast. Golden core, nascent soul, all shattered. Fortunately, The colorless glass sword, linked to my soul, seems intact since I had thrown it along with John Myung-hoon beyond the bright cold realm. Flash. Han One appears before me. Truly astonished, Han One exclaims. Incredible. To maintain your form even after being hit by my great mountain-splitting emperor. What a tremendous feat. He speaks while emanating black and white energy in his hands. Until now, no heavenly being stage cultivator, let alone anyone hit by my great mountain-splitting emperor, has left even a trace behind. But you have managed to preserve your life after being hit. I pay my respects to that achievement. Wawung. The yin-yang and 5 elements binding ensnares me as I am dying. Farewell, you failures who could not protect the golden divine heavenly thunder sect. Flash. He looks down at me with cold eyes and stretches out his hands. Great mountain. Failed to protect? Is that really the case? It is. Jin Byako, Jin Sohei, Jin Y, Hong Su Ryong, Jin Min, Jin Jinshan. How many have died? I failed to protect them. But, smirk. I am not ashamed before them. The lineage of the golden divine heavenly thunder sect survived, continuing its history and avoiding annihilation. Thus, I overcame fate. This life, definitely, was not meaningless. I did everything I could in this life. Watching me accept death calmly, Han One's eyes waver. However, there's no hesitation in his action. Splitting Emperor. A white light covers the world. That is my 18th return. Translator notes. I'm changing Mount Tai Emperor splitting technique to Great Mountain. I got confused because Great Mountain, Kashan, also translates to Mount Tai. However, after doing some more research, it's a different Mount Tai from the famous one, Kashan. Also, Repentful Enlightenment is changed to Comprehension. Chapter 281, 18 Cycles First Day. Translator, Translating Novice. Editor, Z0rel. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Russell. I open my eyes and gather my thoughts. Co Eunhyun. Did I die again this time? Co Eunhyun. It was a good life. Co Eunhyun. Although it was painful. Hey Co Eunhyun. And then, I feel something strange. Huh. John Myung-hoon. I look at John Myung-hoon who is beside me. Hong Fan. Yunjin. Where is this? My eyes waver. The place is under a strange night sky, filled with constellations I had never seen before. At the center of that night sea, there is a small island floating, and the sky is gradually filling with heavenly tribulation and starting to collapse. Huh? My eyes widen in panic. What? What are you saying, Co Eunhyun? Master, are you feeling unwell? Please, tell us. John Myung-hoon and Hong Fan look at me with worried eyes. In my confusion, I clutch my head. Has the regression point been fixed again? It's an utterly baffling situation. Traveling between dimensions, ascending from a lower realm to the upper realm had all been done before. But even then, there had never been an instance of regression fixing itself. But this time, it was fixed. Why? My head feels like it is going to burst from confusion. And this place is the stomach of that bizarre life form. Why on earth had it fixed here of all places? No, maybe that's actually better. I quickly cool my head. Everything is too confusing, and I want to contemplate my feelings. However, there is the imminent danger of Han One right before us. Kagugugu. The world is collapsing rapidly, and we are about to enter the bright cold realm, riding the flow of attraction. This path will lead us to confront Han One once again. It isn't bad that the regression had been fixed right before Han One. I ponder as we are about to enter the bright cold realm. There are 3 attractions pulling me. The attraction of the flying immortal platform. The attraction of the nether crossing ship. The attraction of the immortal beast blood. At the flying immortal platform, Han One resides. However, I know nothing about the nether crossing ship and the immortal beast blood. First, I won't follow the immortal beast blood. Since it involves immortal beasts, I decide to be cautious because I don't know what could happen. The memory of being overwhelmed by the lustrous glazed peacock's light belonging to Ohiasio makes me extra wary. I look towards the pole led by the nether crossing ship. Is this related to the nether ghost realm or Black Ghost Valley? Either way, I'm wary. After a moment of contemplation, I decide to follow the attraction of the flying immortal platform. It's fine. I know too little about the other 2 places. According to Jean Wei's words, if we can just escape the Heaven-Earth Central Territory, Han One won't follow. So, let's try the flying immortal platform with a high chance of escaping first. I take a piece of flesh from my pocket and throw it towards the place led by the attraction of the nether crossing ship. Wawung. It's Yuan Yu. I insert a mysterious bizarre goo into Yuan Yu's flesh, and later, when it enters another place through that attraction, I plan to find out its location. Well, that's all the preparation I can do for now. I look at John Myung-hoon, Hong Fan, and Yunjin and say, when we enter the bright cold realm, we'll escape the Heaven-Earth Central Territory with all our might. Got it? Huh? What? Just do as I say. There's a high chance that Han 1 will flip out and chase after us. Is it because of your bounty? It's not about my bounty. It's because of his mental illness. Anyway, if Jinwei's words are true, he won't follow beyond the Heaven-Earth Central Territory, so we must escape quickly. Maybe it would be better if we enter your Peach Garden painting and you escape alone. I had already unfolded the Peach Garden painting, capable of containing spiritual beings and people, and prepared for the impact of the dimensional barrier. Kwang. We leap through the dimensional barrier, and as soon as John Myonghun lands on the flying immortal platform, he grabs Hong Fan and Yun Jin and plunges into the Peach Garden painting I had spread out. After folding the Peach Garden painting, before the 4-axis stage inspectors can even spot us, I quickly activate the 3 great ultimates and entered a paused world. In that very state, I roll my foot. Pong. Frantically, I break away from the Heaven-Earth Palace like mad. Gubek had once shown me a sky route that allows me to successfully escape the boundary of the Heaven-Earth Palace. Just 50,000 more li and I'll be out of the Heaven-Earth Central Territory. I quickly passed the 10,000 li mark, then the 20,000 li, and the 30,000 li mark. And finally, when I am just 10,000 li away from surpassing 40,000 li. Kagugugu. No, Han 1 is coming. I feel a chilling killing intent from behind and speed up even more. That's when it happens. Wawoom. Suddenly, the distance in front of me, that is, the distance between the end of the Heaven-Earth Territory and me begins stretching. At the same time, I see Han 1 chasing after me from behind. Step, step, step. Han 1 is not using the flying escape technique. With every step he takes, space itself is folding. He is using the shrinking earth technique to chase after me. That's integration stage. I only possess the combat power of the integration stage, but I don't possess the abilities of an integration stage cultivator. It's said that one can freely twist space starting from the integration stage, and it seems he is trying to bind me in this way. Boom. I raise the colorless glass sword towards the twisting space in front of me, and with that stance, I slash down. Boom Kwang. The distorted space tears open entirely, revealing the void. I enter the void and madly dash towards the end of the Heaven-Earth Territory. Kagugugu. From behind, a giant palm-shaped energy wave bearing the form of Yin and Yang is flying towards me. I don't confront it head-on, but use all my strength to dodge his strike and almost reach the very end of the Heaven-Earth Territory. Now, that's when it happens. Boom. An ominous sensation licks my back. I can't ignore that sinister aura and turn back. And I'm startled. Woo-woo. Centered on Han 1, a spherical dimensional barrier formed and is engulfing the area, chasing after me. Damn it. Han 1 is deploying his domain. I intuitively realize that if I am caught in that domain, escaping the Heaven-Earth Territory will be meaningless, further intensifying my consciousness acceleration. My head feels like it's about to burst. My overheated upper dantian might explode at any moment. But I don't stop. Instead, I ignite all the energy in my body and increase my speed even further. Kagugugu. But his domain, eerily similar to the dimensional barrier, almost reaches my toes. Faster. And at that moment, Paot, I finally feel that I have escaped the Heaven-Earth Territory. The nature of the dragon vein has changed. Mortals divide their territories by land. However, cultivators divide their territories based on the qualities of the dragon veins and separate the areas accordingly. And finally, I have left the dragon vein zone flowing with the unique energy of the Heaven-Earth Central Territory. Now, I've escaped Han 1's grasp. I turn around with a victorious smile. As expected, according to the Golden Guard, Han 1's territory did not extend beyond the Heaven-Earth boundary, but was trembling within it. Just as Jinwei had said, Han 1's domain does not cross over the Heaven-Earth territory and is wavering inside. Now that I have escaped from Han 1, that's when I feel it. Wawoom. I see Han 1's domain shrinking. His domain shrinks smaller and smaller, reducing to the size of Han 1's body. And the shrunken domain of Han 1 perfectly fits his body shape, as if clothed upon him. Feeling an ominous dread, I don't stop but maintain my speed. And Han 1, wearing his domain on his body, steps out of the Heaven-Earth territory with a stern expression. Jinwei, that useless human. Not coming out. What do you mean not coming out? He's perfectly coming out. Pot. Han 1 begins chasing me using the flying escape technique. Being the flying escape technique of an integration stage grand cultivator, his speed is rapidly catching up to me, who activated the 3 great ultimates. Moreover, the flying escape technique is inherently meant for long-distance travel, so the gap between us as I flee in a straight line is closing fast. Just a bit more, hold on just a bit. I squeeze out every bit of energy from my body to escape from him. I cross countless mountains and rivers, pass through bizarre swamps, and overcome snowy mountains and lava regions. Han 1 relentlessly chases me like a madman for about half a day, and soon, The distance between him and me had shrunk to within 10 li. Damn, damn, damn. And at that moment, when I feel threatened for my life. Pat it. Suddenly, Han One stops right there. Is he not chasing anymore? However, I clench my teeth when I see the black and white demon immortal energy swirling in his hands. He's going to attack. Kagugugu. The yin and yang energy of heaven and earth swirl all around. And the energy of the 5 elements block the 5 directions. Mount Tai. Wawa Aowa. With all my might, I swing the colorless glass sword towards the yin-yang 5 elements binding. Splitting Emperor. Kwong. Heaven and earth brightly light up. And just by a hair's breadth, I manage to puncture a hole through the yin-yang 5 elements prison and narrowly escape the attack range of the Mount Tai Splitting Emperor technique. The attack range was significantly reduced due to being outside the heaven-earth territory, and the durability of the yin-yang 5 elements barrier considerably weakened, making it possible. Pat it. I continue to flee madly, and I notice that Han One no longer pursues me after launching that attack. Thank goodness. It seems the attack he had launched was one out of desperation, thinking he could no longer catch me. Cough, cough, cough. Drip, drip, drip. Integration stage Grand Cultivator Han One frowns as he sees the blood flowing from his mouth. Jinwei, if it weren't for that monster. Chi 3. The yin and yang energies within the blood he spilled are widely entangled and twisting. It seems I need to return to the heaven-earth territory. My energies are starting to tangle again. And Han One's eyes follow the direction Seo Un-hyun had escaped to. I need to issue the bounty again. Crunch. Han One grasps the void, pulling it towards him. At the same time, the coordinates he had planted in the Heaven-Earth Palace resonate with him, beginning to warp space. Kaguguguk. Boom. Space crumples, creating a spatial gate between where Han One stands and the Heaven-Earth Palace. Han One returns to the Heaven-Earth Palace and absorbs the energies of the Central Territory, shouting out loud. His voice vibrates the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, echoing throughout the Heaven-Earth Palace. Inspectors of the 4-axis stage in the Heaven-Earth Palace, hear me. Cease all your current tasks, enter the spatial gate I created, and capture the fugitive who refused to register their identity and fled from the Heaven-Earth Palace. He is extremely dangerous. If he resists, it's permissible to take his life. Upon his command, 15 of the 36 4-axis stage inspectors at the Heaven-Earth Palace begin to move to capture Seo Un-hyun. Han One ponders to himself. Even if he escaped from me, an integration stage Grand Cultivator, the cultivation I felt from him was that of the heavenly being stage. Having drained so much energy, surely he won't be able to defeat this many 4-axis stage cultivators. He might have been able to escape from me who has limited mobility by risking his life, but unless a cultivator of the same caliber appears, he won't be able to block a force of this level. Even fleeing will not be easy, since fleeing from him would have already drained a lot of his energy. Han One settles into a meditative pose and begins circulating his energy, expecting Seo Un-hyun to be dragged before him soon. Pat it. How long have I been fleeing? By now, I have gotten so far that not even a trace of Han One, let alone Han One himself, can be seen. Only now can I finally breathe a sigh of relief. Finally. I stop and take a deep breath. I've successfully escaped, but now that I escaped the crisis, the confusion I have been suppressing spreads like wildfire in my chest. Why did the regression point fix itself? I ponder, recalling the commonalities between the previous and current fixed points of regression. Head realm. That is it. The fixation of the regression point occurred right after ascending from the head realm both times. If such events had occurred twice, I can't help but think there must be some connection between the fixation of the regression point and the head realm. Thinking about the fixed regression point brings all sorts of emotions boiling up in my chest again. I see. Trickle. Jin Y, Hong Su Ryong, and other precious ones. Jin Byuk-ho, Jin Jinshan, Jin Sohei, and others who could have been saved. Now, I can never meet them again. No matter if they are different from those in my past lives. No matter if I perceive them as different people. Perhaps I unconsciously identified them as the same. I shed tears over the fact that I can never see them again. Thank you. Still, I have no regrets. I have indeed done everything I could. And the fact that time has been fixed means that all my actions so far aren't just passing into the void of time. Deep in my heart, I convey my mourning, sorrow, and apologies to those who had already died, and at the same time, I express deep gratitude to those I had saved. As I contemplate with my eyes closed, it happens. Kagugugu. With the sound of air tearing apart, about a dozen cultivators fly to my surroundings and encircle me. You scoundrel. In the world you lived in, you might have strutted around as a heavenly being stage cultivator and everyone stepped back, but how dare you create such chaos in the bright cold realm? Come along quietly tied up. If you resist, we will subdue you by force. It seems you somehow wriggled forth everything and fled from Lord Grand Cultivator. But the Heaven-Earth Palace Lord deliberately didn't chase after you, because leaving the Heaven-Earth territory would severely worsen his condition. I chuckle at their noisy ranting. I've set my goal. Huh? What did he say? I cross my arms thoughtfully, sort out my emotions, and clarify my goals. My goal in this life is to obtain the Mount Tai Splitting Emperor technique. And now that I have stabilized John Myong-hoon, it's time to save Hyunsuk Hyungnim by protecting Azure Tiger Saint. Azure Tiger Saint will ultimately die at the hands of the Blood-Een Realm's Esteemed One. So, what should I do to prevent Azure Tiger Saint from dying? Just ensure Azure Tiger Saint does not encounter the Blood-Een Esteemed One. The war between the True Devil Realm and the human race will soon end. The grand cultivators of the True Devil Realm will start counterattacking, and the human race will be disastrously defeated. Oh Hyunsuk is currently in the True Devil Realm, so it should be feasible to call him back to the Bright Cold Realm. Moreover, in this life, let's try to survive for a long time and watch over Kong Minhee's condition, Kim Yun's mental health, and Seo Hui's schemes as much as possible. Mount Tai Splitting Emperor Technique. Preventing the mental collapse of Oh Hyunsuk through the survival of Azure Tiger Saint. And long-term survival are the goals of this life. I look up at the 15 4-axis stage inspectors pressing around me and smirk. And, to summon Oh Hyunsuk, I'll need the power of the Human Race Grand Alliance. To exercise power within the Human Race Grand Alliance, first, I pull out the colorless glass sword from my mouth while grinning. I'll need some fame, right? Currently, with the Grand Cultivators of the Heaven Tribe laying low due to the aftermath of the owner of Heavenly Punishment. Showing Grand Cultivator level power now, the Grand Alliance will surely want to enlist me, regardless of my past enmities with Han Wan. This arrogant fool. Lord Grand Cultivator said it's okay to kill if he resists. Quong. A 4-axis stage cultivator fires a light bullet from his fingertip towards me. Though it appears weak, it's a forceful blow that would fatally tire and kill a typical heavenly being stage cultivator. And towards him, I swing the colorless glass sword. Quong. Space splits, and along with the light bullet, the 4-axis stage cultivator who fired it is cleaved in half without even a chance to react. Chapter 282, Sword Ghost. Translator, Translating Novice. Editor, Z0rel. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. The bisected 4-axis cultivator is utterly bewildered, not comprehending what had just befallen him. However, a second later, Aya! He screams as he claws at his bisected torso. Kadujuguk. At the 4-axis stage, one's vitality is so tremendous that even if they are split in half, they will fuse back together. There is only one way to fatally wound a 4-axis stage cultivator. Within the golden core sleeps a nascent soul, and inside that nascent soul is either the heavenly circle, Tian, or earthly bearings, Defong, that one has to tamper with. This bastard. Feeling that my abilities are not ordinary, 7 4-axis stage cultivators form seals and press towards me. Yet, I grin coldly and raise the colorless glass sword once again. Until now, I always had to hide that I am of the Heart Tribe. In the Bright Cold Realm, the Heart Tribe is persecuted. But now that I think about it, is there any need to hide that I am from the Heart Tribe from the likes of you? Quag-wag-wag-wang. I swing my sword down. A colorless heavenly tribulation spreads in all directions. The ground itself splits in half. A canyon stretching 5,000 li forms, and red-hot lava flows down the walls. The 4-axis stage cultivators struck by this attack are sliced apart. This is crazy. He's from the Heart Tribe. He's a 4th stage Heart Tribe member. Everyone, attack together. However, I smirk at them as they rush towards me in horror. You're mistaken. Kugagugagugu. Pure spiritual force surges tumultuously throughout my body. Demonic power flutters wildly, empowering me. I begin to dance. You should have attacked together from the start. Not now, when some of you have already been decisively defeated. Quagwang, quagwagwagwang. The 1st through 12th moves of Severing Mountain swordsmanship unfold wildly. The first 12 moves are the basics of swordsmanship. The 13th to 24th moves concern sword energy, intent, and control of power. And the moves I started creating from the 25th to the 36th forms. I hadn't yet set a standard for those techniques. But today, facing the 4-axis stage cultivators at full strength, I am finally able to grasp a feel for the latter half of the Severing Mountain swordsmanship. Moves integrating heaven, earth, and heart, the 3 powers. That will be the essence for the latter part of Severing Mountain swordsmanship. 13 4-axis stage cultivators each use their flying escape technique to charge at me. But they are slow. Boom, 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 boom. I dance bearing the 3 great ultimates, facing them head-on. A pagoda Dharma treasure strikes down at me from the sky. A stamped Dharma treasure assaults me from both sides. A ring Dharma treasure expands enormously and constricts around me. One cultivator, holding a mirrored Dharma treasure, reflects himself upon it. Instantly, a clone looking exactly like him emerges from the mirror and attacks me in a formation. When another cultivator shakes a Bell Dharma treasure, immense heat bursts forth, engulfing the surroundings. Next to him, a cultivator fans a fan, creating whirlwinds that mingle with the flames, engulfing me in a vortex of fire. Quag. Centered around Seo Eun-hyun and the 4-axis stage cultivators, a radius of 3,000 li is swept by a shockwave that triggers earthquakes and tsunamis. Those who came to capture Seo Eun-hyun are Inspector Cultivators from the Heaven-Earth Palace, tasked with apprehending those who cause disturbances within Heaven-Earth Palace. Sometimes, when exceptionally skilled individuals from the lower realms ascend, or monsters from the interdimensional void invade the bright cold realm and escape from Heaven-Earth Palace, these cultivators are tasked with chasing and capturing them. However, for the first time in their lives, they face a monster that even 15 inspectors combined cannot capture. Quang. Their spell techniques are shattered. Their Dharma treasures, made from precious materials, are torn apart like paper. Aart, one by one, 4-axis stage cultivators who have lived for thousands of years are split in half by a single sword strike. Block him. Block that monster, even for a moment. But they can't stop him. No defensive spell or Dharma treasure. All their attempts to block are passed through like a ghost, sliced apart. Escape is also impossible. When they think they dodge the sword, something colorless, traceless, and formless would unpredictably change shape and chase them down, splitting them apart. We can't stop him. Before long, the 15 inspectors who had come are reduced to 9. Form the third formation. Regroup. Quaduk. The 9 remaining inspectors simultaneously cut their fingers. From their severed fingers, their essence blood spurts forth and gathers in the air. Bind. Hanzhou, the leader of the inspectors and a grand perfection 4-axis stage cultivator, commands the remaining 8 cultivators. Deploy the soul binding seal formation. CHRRRK. The essence blood connects to the life force of the 4-axis stage cultivators, forming chains in the air. Cling. Simultaneously, 9 chains pierce through space and embed themselves into Seo Eun-hyun's body. Quadudaduk. Hanzhou, sweating profusely, shouts, "We've caught him for a moment. Unleash all attacks now." At the same time, all the inspector reform their hand seals, and each of their natal innate techniques pour down on Seo Eun-hyun simultaneously. A loud roar erupts as light scatters in all directions. Where they attacked, a massive spatial rift has formed. Kugugugugu. How intensely had they bombarded Seo Eun-hyun? A moment of lull follows. Hanzhou swallows his saliva. Everyone has reached their limit on how many spells they can continuously deploy. Even a typical 4-axis stage cultivator would hardly leave any remnants in this situation. He looks hopefully into the dark smoke billowing from within. Did we get him? Then, from within the smoke, a pale arm suddenly bursts forth. You're mistaken. Wawoon. This is madness. Everyone, attack again. And then, a fleeting sense of foreboding passes through Hanzhou's mind as he gives the order. He survived that? Even a fellow 4-axis stage cultivator would struggle. Unless it's someone extraordinary among the grand perfection ranks of 4-axis cultivators, it's tough. And what was that clear voice just now? Surviving a bombardment that even a grand perfection 4-axis cultivator would find hard to withstand. What does this imply? It's quite simple. That monster out there might be at the level of an integration stage grand cultivator. It's not me who got caught. Cling, clang. Bound by the soul binding seal formation, Seo Eun-hyun speaks from within the smoke, revealing his teeth. It's you who are caught. Then, his arm cuts through the smoke as he swings his sword. Evade! Hanzhou's urgent voice spreads in all directions. Quang. The bodies of the 4-axis cultivators are cleaved apart. Around Hanzhou, 4 axes emerge, and a 4-axis canopy unfolds. However, his barrier is easily shattered. From within the dark smoke, Hanzhou catches sight of Seo Eun-hyun wielding a colorless sword and utters one name. Sword. Ghost. And that name quickly spreads from mouth to mouth among the inspector cultivators. Sword Ghost. It's the Sword Ghost. The Sword Ghost. Quang. Finally, Hanzhou, who is essentially the leader of the inspectors, is severed in half by the merciless sword of Seo Eun-hyun, now known as the Sword Ghost. The remaining cultivators completely lose their will to fight. Run away. It's a monster. Wapa. Senior, spare me, please spare me. The 4 surviving cultivators run in different directions, and only then does Seo Eun-hyun's ruthless sword dance stop. Chai. I extinguished the smoke flowing from my body with a smile. It had been a confrontation initiated while being exhausted from being pursued by Han Wan. Because of that, I had inevitably needed to use foolish old man moves mountains to deal with them. Good. Now, the fatality of the self-destructive techniques used through foolish old man moves mountains is outweighed by the undying aspect of my physical body, meaning a brief use of foolish old man moves mountains doesn't kill me anymore. Of course, since foolish old man moves mountains can theoretically become infinitely stronger with continuous use, long-term use will still indeed result in inevitable destruction. However, unlike before when it was a certain death technique, now it can be used for short-term battles. It was a bit risky though. Even though they could revive after dying, they still hesitated to risk their lives. Or perhaps, it was precisely because the 4-axis stage investigators valued their lives so much that they dared to fight to the death. Having expended much energy while fleeing from Han 1, it might have been slightly risky had it been a prolonged battle. If everyone had collaborated with the intent to risk their lives from the beginning, I would have certainly been defeated and forced to start the 19th cycle. But they all value their lives a lot. They value their lives despite being able to resurrect after dying. No, perhaps it's precisely because they cherish their lives so much that they struggle desperately to reach the 4-axis stage. By the time one reaches the 4-axis stage, the obsession with one's own life seems to surpass imagination, and because of that, everyone crucially backs off, allowing for one-on-one battles. They thought they were attacking me together, but in fact, apart from 1 or 2, hardly anyone was properly coordinating their attacks, resulting in my victory. However, despite that, 15 4-axis cultivators. I grin. I won. They were individuals who hesitated at critical moments due to an unimaginable fixation on life, but they were still 15 4-axis cultivators. Among them, there was even a grand perfection 4-axis cultivator, and it was after being drained while escaping from Han 1 that I managed to defeat them. That is, if I hadn't been drained and had fought with full power from the beginning, they wouldn't have stood a chance against me, even if they risked their lives. Considering Han 1 practiced heaven and earth dual cultivation and is a monster of late integration stage strength despite being in the early stage. Kaduduk, I finally grasp the extent of the realm I have reached as I gather the power of the 3 great ultimates in my fist. Grand Cultivator. I have reached a stage where I can challenge the domain of an actual integration cultivator. Now, not only the 4-axis stages who fled, but also the remaining 4-axis cultivators who will revive will surely inform the Heaven tribe about me. Based on my predictions, even if they are grand cultivators at the integration stage, the damage they sustained from witnessing the owner of heavenly punishment wouldn't have been much different. They too must have suffered immense damage, and probably they had been nearly wiped out and hidden up till now to heal those injuries. If news reaches them that a new integration stage human has emerged, regardless of what Han 1 thinks of me, it wouldn't matter anymore. I will be seen as a precious force to be protected by the Heaven tribe. Alright then, now come out. I dust off my hands and unfold the peach garden painting. From within, John Myung-hoon and Hong Fan emerge. John Myung-hoon whistles and laughs. I saw a bit from inside the peach garden painting. It was brutally spectacular. Now then, I said come out. At my words, John Myung-hoon furrows his brow. We all came out already. Ignoring John Myung-hoon, I speak with a fierce glare to the owner of the sticky and unpleasant intent that has been spying on us. This is your last warning. Come out, or I will kill you. Then, as if the space itself is warping, a small domain, created by the 4-axis canopy reveals itself. Rather than a domain, it should be called a subspace, floating like a droplet above space. As the droplet-shaped 4-axis canopy recedes, a rather unpleasant face appears. Haha, long time no see, Taoist Seo. It's Seo Huiol. Chapter 283, Hermit. Translator, Translating Novice. Editor, Z0rel. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. I give Hong Fan and John Myung-hoon a cold look and signal them with my eyes. Recognizing my gesture, the two nod and quickly move to block Seo Huiol's retreat. Seeing us surrounding him from 3 directions, Seo Huiol laughs. Relax, fellow Taoists. In fact, I've come after investigating everything about you all. Seo Huiol's gaze then shifts to John Myung-hoon, the Taoist who, having inherited the true inheritance method of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, reached the Heavenly Being stage after just about 70 years. He then turns his gaze from John Myung-hoon to Hong Fan, and Taoist Hong, who reached the nascent soul stage even quicker. Though not yet at the Heavenly Being stage, rumors of his genius are widespread. His gaze shifts to me. And finally, Taoist Seo, who reached Qi Refining 6 star within a day of learning cultivation methods, rose to the nascent soul stage at an unbelievable speed, and then took the remnants of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect down to the head realm. He smiles faintly and continues. All 3 of you are certainly not ordinary, it seems. Am I right? I keep my lips tightly sealed with a frosty expression. I can't read it. It seems that by this point, he has already developed a magic artifact that could counteract the Heart Tribe's vision. though it appears blurry. But beyond that, it's hard to see clearly. As it at least appears blurry after reaching tribulating heavens, I think perhaps Kim Young-hoon can see through Seo Huil's magic artifact. So what do you want to say? Seo Huil spreads his arms with a welcoming smile at my question. You might find it insignificant, but I would like to inquire if I could join your plans. The true forms, Junteep, of Taoist Hong and Taoist John. I can roughly guess. Haha, they must be those individuals. Of course, there's none like Taoist Seo that I know of. He amusingly notes, if you're not among those I know, then you must belong to one of two places, either affiliated with the Netherworld or from that side. Given the reaction of Whitebone Ghost Devil of Black Ghost Valley last time, you are likely a distinguished person from the Netherworld, I presume? Seo Huil continues with a warm smile. A person of the Netherworld, and the true forms of Taoist John and Taoist Hong. I can guess your goal. There's only one singular purpose you all would come to this heavenly domain. What is this guy rambling about? I decide to just listen since there's no harm in hearing him out. You're probably here to head to the lightning sacred sea to retrieve the relic of the golden deity. Isn't that right? He looks around at us with a gentle yet confident expression, seeming certain of his guess. Realizing that John Myung-hoon and Hong Fan's expressions are giving us away, I quickly divert Seo Huil's attention to myself. You're not wrong, but I see no need to explain myself to you. As I speak, I also send a heart message to Hong Fan and John Myung-hoon. Since heart language leaves no traces, Seo Huil doesn't notice it. Upon receiving my will, the two quickly seal their senses. I then kick Yun-jin, whose mouth is opening and closing besides me, back into the depths of the peach garden painting before turning to Seo Huil. You want to cooperate with us? Then tell me, who are you exactly, and what are you doing here? Recite your purpose. Might as well let him continue with his misunderstanding. I throw the question with the intention of completely exposing him. However, Seo Huil's answer is succinct. I am bloodying Shiyin. Does that answer your question? What in the world does that mean? Furthermore, I sense impurity in Seo Huil's intention. Although it's hard to know his inner thoughts and intent through the Heart Tribe's vision, it's clear to me that he harbors impure intention towards me. He's lying. I don't even know what bloodying is, but clearly, he isn't bloodying. Bloodying, huh? Remembering what Yang Sujin had said, I decide to test whether he really is this bloodying. If you are bloodying, then you must have already found in cause and Yun connection, correct? For the first time, Seo Huil's usually composed mouth shuts tight at my question. Although his expression does not change, I manage to discern that his intent and heart essence are unusually trembling. Though I can only read them in a blurry manner, it's enough to tell that his heart essence is significantly disturbed. Vast cold is indeed vast. How could they be so easily found? He neither ignores nor denies my words, simply passing them off as if he hasn't found them yet. I smirk. I've got the upper hand. For the first time in our verbal exchanges, I have gained the upper hand due to the disparity in information. He definitely isn't bloodying. He's just impersonating as such. Honestly, I can't believe you. You don't even know the whereabouts of In and Yun, and you claim to be bloodying. Haha, well, it doesn't matter what you think. What's clear is that I am deeply related to bloodying. Regardless, I can provide what the three of you are looking for. And you know what we want. I can provide whatever it is. At that, I pause for a moment then smirk again. I am, indeed interested in Yang Sujin's immortal treasure you've spoken of. But apart from that, I am also searching for traces left by the owner of Salt Mountain. The owner of Salt Mountain? Seo Huil seems momentarily flustered by my words, then laughs as if he finally understands. Ah, I see. That's why Han 1 has been chasing you like a madman. Are you perhaps aiming for the Mount Tai Splitting Emperor technique? Well, something like that. He knows about the Mount Tai Splitting Emperor technique and the owner of Salt Mountain. He really doesn't seem like an ordinary guy. What will you do by finding the traces of the governing immortal? Is searching for that ancient deity a command from a heavenly venerable? I'm shocked by Seo Huil suddenly mentioning governing immortal. However, strangely enough, it isn't as painful as the time my body had melted away instantaneously. It feels as though I developed a resistance. I managed to endure the shock contained in the word governing immortal without showing it and smile back. This bastard is trying to test me. It must have been the same for John Myung-hoon and Hong Fan. Fortunately, they seem unaffected, probably because they had blocked their senses as I had asked. Although John Myung-hoon might have developed a resistance by directly facing a governing immortal, it was better to be cautious with Hong Fan. The oldest one desires the traces of the mountain deity. I casually mention the master of the netherworld metaphorically to Seo Huil. Then, Seo Huil nods. I see. I understand the situation. It seems he recognizes my ability to endure the shock of the word governing immortal and my capability to bring up other knowledge. If you aim for the Mount Tai Splitting Emperor technique, I will assist you with that as well. How can you? Han 1 has many children, after all. He grins nonchalantly, bringing up the topic as if it's nothing out of the ordinary. Just kidnap 1 or 2 and brainwash them. His tone, as if he's talking about going on a picnic, leaves me somewhat dumbfounded. But anyway, I frown as I notice Xiao Huiol slowly approaching me with a sly look. He closes in quite familiarly and seems about to say something. With this level of sincerity, perhaps I could join fellow Taoists for a bit? I haven't said anything about kidnapping yet. Oh, if you dislike kidnapping and brainwashing, then I'll just become friends with Han 1's children and find out that way. His response clearly means he intends to manipulate people's hearts and spit out their secrets, just as he had done with Gurion. Would that be all right with you? He reaches out affectionately towards my shoulder as he asks. And then, crack, I grab his arm. Shoulder. Don't touch my shoulder. I grit my teeth and glare at him fiercely. I'll kill you. Xiao Huiol laughs nervously and withdraws his hand, a bit flustered. I apologize. It seems I have indeed annoyed Taoist Xiao. You know well. Now then, I'll think about your offer to help us. We'll decide later and contact you when needed, so get lost. I've been holding up well so far, but I fear that continuing to talk with him might give him a chance to find a gap, so I decide to rid Xiao Huiol immediately. Understood. We shall meet again later. And regarding the technique left by the owner of Salt Mountain and his successor, I will also endeavor to help. Do as you like. Additionally, regarding the Lightning Sacred Sea, studying the ruins of the Golden Deity's shrine that was destroyed 40,000 years ago may accelerate the strategy for entering the Lightning Sacred Sea. I'll provide this information freely as compensation for having possibly upset you. It's valuable information. The region he refers to as the Lightning Sacred Sea is likely deeply related to Yang Sujin's decaying corpse realm that the star-shattering esteemed ones are currently searching for. However, the problem is that Xiao Huiol is the source of the information. Only Xiao Huiol knows to what extent and how he might be lying to anyone. It's uncertain starting from where this information is reliable. The intention behind this information doesn't seem impure. Is it just trying to curry favor with me? And on top of that, there seems to be a bit of an intention to test me. By the way, 40,000 years ago, what was the most memorable event for you back then? For me, it was amusing when Han 1 received attention from the mountain deity. Haha, that's quite unique of you. Xiao Huiol laughs as if amused. The biggest event 40,000 years ago was the enthronement, wasn't it? The event when that person seized the imperial throne shook all 3,000 worlds in the heavenly domain, and even the heavenly venerables celebrated it. That incident practically influenced all events across the 3,000 worlds. The persecution of the descendants of the Golden Deity was merely one of the repercussions. To mention such a trivial event related to Han 1, I catch Xiao Huiol's eyes as he spills information I am unaware of. Perhaps, if it involved the owner of Mount Tai, there must have been some intricacies that even I am unaware of. Thank you for the information. Xiao Huiol, momentarily making eye contact with me, smiles with his eyes curving like crescent moons. Since you seem to be searching for traces related to the owner of Mount Tai, you may already know this, but let me tell you one more thing. Go ahead. Xiao Huiol grins and turns his back to me. Han 1 acquired the supervisory eyes right after our ascension. It was said that he stayed put during the time when the Mad Lord was rampaging because he suddenly gained new supernatural abilities. And Han 1 has never trained in such supernatural abilities before. But suddenly, right when we ascended, he obtained them. You know what this means, right? His words send a chill down my spine. Someone is lending him their eyes right now. Hello. Thump, thump, thump. I feel cold sweat run down my back. I immediately understand the implication of Xiao Huiol's words. Han 1 didn't capture the Mad Lord at that time because at that moment, he had borrowed spiritual eye powers from some being. The being that granted him that spirit I had deliberately chosen to do so right after our ascension. And that being is likely related to the Mount Tai splitting emperor technique, and by Xiao Huiol's indication, associated with the owner of Mount Tai. All these facts imply one possibility. The owner of Mount Tai might have been monitoring us through Han 1's eyes immediately after the Enders ascended. Shiver. I realize why the character for supervised Jan in Han 1's eyes had particularly stuck in my mind. Perhaps that gaze might have been Han 1's, but it was not solely his. Thank you for the valuable information, Xiao Huiol. It's nothing. Well then, I will see you again in the future. Xiao Huiol smiles and is about to leave. And I too smile slyly as I draw the colorless glass sword once again from my mouth. Then farewell. Bo Wung, Puk Kwak. With my single strike, Xiao Huiol is cleaved in half and killed. I see Xiao Huiol's nascent soul scatter and split apart. His heavenly circle and earthly bearings scatter. Like so, Xiao Huiol died. Chapter 284, My Name is 1. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 284, My Name is 1. Whoosh. The sword is rampant. No, The colorless glass sword is more akin to a ray of light. Thousands of rays pour towards Xiao Huiol. I move my sword with even more focus than when I eliminated those 15 4-axis stage cultivators. I will kill him right here. Originally, I had considered listening to Xiao Huiol a bit and even using him to possibly collaborate to some extent. However, I realized my heart essence was involuntarily changing while talking to him. Xiao Huiol was brainwashing me without me noticing. This guy, it's impossible to even associate with him. Kagugugu. The aftermath of my sword strikes makes the earth tremble. I will erase him without leaving an even speck of dust. Pat it. Tens of thousands of rays burst forth from a single sword, disintegrating Xiao Huiol's cells one by one. Dadaoist Xiao, why are you? To kill a 4-axis stage cultivator, you must split the heavenly circle inside them. Daoist Xiao, wait. My consciousness becomes even more precise. Xiao Huiol's golden core shatters. His nascent soul collapses. The round heavenly circle inside him and the axis foundation accumulated in the region becomes visible. Shoo 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 shook. 4 sword strikes in total. The 4 strikes primarily tear the heavenly circle and earthly bearings. Then, I begin to disintegrate his heavenly circle and earthly bearings completely. Hot. No. Wait, listen to my. It seems like he's trying to say something, but I ignore it. There's no trust for someone who tries to brainwash another upon meeting. It's better to completely annihilate them upon meeting to avoid future troubles. Pat it. He tries to reveal his 4-axis canopy, but even that is shredded by my colorless glass sword. His 4-axis canopy vanishes in an instant, and all that remains in front of me is his body turned to dust. Now all of the flesh, rogue, is dead. However, 4-axis cultivators can resurrect. They can resurrect from their own bodies, but many 4-axis cultivators resurrect at a place they have designated. I can't stand to see that happen. So, how should one kill a 4-axis cultivator attempting to resurrect? It's simple. Wawoom. The formless sword cries. At the same time, the plane of the formless sword rises, beginning to leap into the plane of soul. While wait. You cannot resurrect. The formless sword, moving freely between planes, salivates towards Xiao Huiol's soul. Cut. The sensation of the formless sword connects with me, and I begin to see the pathway of the soul that cultivators of the 4-axis stage pass through to resurrect. Normally, despite knowing an opponent might resurrect, a 4-axis cultivator cannot touch this soul passage. Not even those at the integration stage can do so, unless they are at the late integration stage or beyond. The plane is simply too high up. But I am different. Boom. The formless sword already ascends to the plane where the soul passage is located, and cuts off Xiao Huiol's connection to that passage. Pot. Ah no. Die, Xiao Huiol. Pat. An enormous current of light sweeps through and completely disintegrates Xiao Huiol's soul. He perishes within the storm of light, along with a final breath of death throes. That is the end of Xiao Huiol. Who? As soon as I confirm that Xiao Huiol's soul scattered, I stop my sword. And I look at him. His body started regenerating his face despite being turned to dust due to his unbelievable vitality. However, once his soul scattered, the regeneration ceased. Only Xiao Huiol's face remains on the corpse. That corpse of Xiao Huiol is still smiling. Smiling kindly, as if he had never felt the terror of death. I killed Xiao Huiol. I split the heavenly circle and earthly bearings thoroughly so that he can't even resurrect. Even his soul essence was scattered. But just what is it? Looking at Xiao Huiol's smiling face even in death, I can't shake the feeling that he isn't truly dead. It's incredibly unsettling. Could it possibly be a clone? However, I shake my head. This guy definitely used the 4-axis canopy, and he had heavenly circle and earthly bearings inside him. If what I killed was a clone, that would mean Xiao Huiol's clone was a 4-axis cultivator. He is not the Mad Lord, and there's no reason for him to waste a 4-axis clone in such a place. Moreover, although it was faint, his heart essence, and the intent he showed when he died, those were real. Meaning, this was indeed Xiao Huiol himself. Is he dead? Thuck. I poke at Xiao Huiol's facial remains. It doesn't suddenly come back to life. Just in case, I pick up Xiao Huiol's facial remains, empty one of my storage scrolls, and seal his face inside it. Although I sealed it because it felt odd, if he really is dead, I can use it as material for an identity plaque later, so it won't be a loss. It seems like he's truly dead. No need for words like, did I kill him? He is certainly dead. Thinking so, I feel incredibly refreshed, and the heavy emotion that seemed to weigh on my heart dissipates. I realized that Xiao Huiol's mere existence had been a significant pressure on me. From now on, I should kill them as soon as I see him. I decided how I will deal with Xiao Huiol in the future. Then, I send a heart message to Hong Fan and John Myung-hoon to unblock their senses. After entering tribulating heavens, my ability to send heart language, not only to the heart tribe but to others, has significantly strengthened. Originally, those not from the Heart tribe wouldn't even perceive the Heart language. But now, I have sharpened the intent within the Heart language itself, making it easier to send and convey my will. Right? So what was that all about? That dragon guy seemed like someone I saw at Ascension Path before. Yes, he was a very sly and cunning fellow. He dared to try and brainwash me, so I killed him. I answered John Myonghun's question, and Hong Fan laughs heartily. Haha, well done, Master. Those who covet Master all deserve to die. Seo Huiol was certainly that kind of guy. Regarding Seo Huiol, I won't feel any guilt no matter how many times I kill him. So what will you do now, Seo Unhyun? It's obvious. I'll enter the Human Race Grand Alliance and be recognized as a Grand Cultivator. If not a Grand Cultivator, at least I will be recognized as having equivalent strategic value. Will they accept you? You're a wanted man, and from what I've heard, isn't that Heart Tribe technique something that the Heaven Tribe shuns? That's correct. However, the being that descended heavenly punishment, that entity wasn't just being watched by us that day. What? That day, all the integration stage Grand Cultivators of the Heaven Tribe were observing Thunder Spirit Island. I explained the whole situation. So, you mean to say that among the Heaven Tribe right now, aside from a few like Han Wan, everyone who was watching Thunder Spirit Island that day saw the owner of heavenly punishment and received critical injuries? That's right. So they'll accept you to fill the void in the Heaven Tribe's strength? Exactly. Well, that's not bad. John Myonghun nods as he speaks. Then I should prepare again for a place in the bright cold realm, so that the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect can settle there after they ascend. That's a good idea. Then first, shall we head to Heavenly Human Island in the Human Race Grand Alliance? Hot. That's when it happens. Seeing, I suddenly twitch at a signal I feel from somewhere. Using the flying escape technique with John Myonghun, we fly towards the direction of the Human Race Grand Alliance, and I focus my mind on the signal. Eventually, I can discern where the signal is coming from. Yuan Yu. Yuan Yu has entered the bright cold realm. Woo-woom. I connect to Yuan Yu's mind. The mysterious bizarre goo I had implanted in him activates, operating inside his nascent soul and connecting his and my vision and senses one by one. It's when I barely open my eyes in Yuan Yu's body and look around. Impressive. It's good to have gained an Ascender as soon as the Flying Immortal platform was set up, but that the Ascender is only at the mid-nascent soul stage is disappointing. I quickly look up at the man in the black robe who has approached and spoken. He looks down at me. A dense devilish energy emanates from him. It seems you're a cultivator trained in devilish arts. You have learned a rather decent devilish art in regeneration that allows you to withstand dimensional pressure. It's actually not a bad choice since the frequency of encountering vestiges it decrease when you ascend during the nascent soul stage. Where is this place? I already know, but I confirm again through Yuan Yu's mouth. This is the Flying Immortal platform within Black Ghost Valley in the bright cold realm. This isn't the Nether Ghost realm. Oh, were you aiming for the Nether Ghost realm when you ascended? Yes. I nod. I assumed it would lead to the Nether Ghost realm based on the attractive force of the Nether crossing ship, but it turns out to be merely inside Black Ghost Valley. Meanwhile, I feel something was off. Wait, a Flying Immortal platform? Inside Black Ghost Valley. I look at the ground I am standing on. It's the same type of Flying Immortal platform that exists in the Heaven-Earth Palace. Inside the Flying Immortal platform, I can feel the power of the Void Spirit Pond. These Black Ghost Valley guys. Even though there is a Void Spirit Pond within their sect, they didn't report it to the human race and created their own Flying Immortal platform to monopolize it? Are they trying to absorb all the talents coming from the lower realms into their sect? I look at the black-robed cultivator. Facing Heogwak, I ask, might I know why I, who ascended targeting the Nether Ghost realm, ended up in the bright cold realm? It's simple. This Flying Immortal platform was fed with a vast amount of ghostly energy to make it very similar to the one in the Nether Ghost realm. The Nether Ghost realm is good, but our Black Ghost Valley in the bright cold realm is not bad either. In fact, in some ways, it's even better than the one in the Nether Ghost realm. Although it differs slightly from the main lineage of the Black Ghost Valley in the Nether Ghost realm, here too, we enjoy the honor of being among the human race's 5 great sects and receive considerable respect. We also share the majority of cultivation methods, only slightly inferior to those of the original sect. He grins as he speaks. If you train with our Black Ghost Valley, I can guarantee you'll see effects no different from training in the Nether Ghost realm. We really like talented individuals like you who have advanced on their own. Moreover, we treat the talents we accept very well. How about it? Won't you join our main sect? I awkwardly smile through Yuan Yu's body. Heogwak's intent comes right into my sight. Since he hasn't employed any magic artifact to defend against the Heart Tribe's vision like Seo Huiol, I can somewhat guess his intention. If I refuse, he plans to kill me. The very existence of a flying immortal platform within their sect implies exactly that. A void spirit pond should not be owned by any specific group, by principle. But what happens if someone ascends using a flying immortal platform made from a clandestinely obtained void spirit pond, and then chooses not to join their sect? Naturally, they will have no choice but to silence them through murder. Since Black Ghost Valley primarily deals with ghost path methods involving ghost souls, perhaps those who refuse their offer are simply killed and refined into ghost souls. From their perspective, it's either a source for acquiring quality disciples or for obtaining quality materials for ghost path methods, so having a flying immortal platform is not a bad thing for them. I pretend to ponder for a moment before speaking. It is an honor. I am grateful for the opportunity to join the Great Black Ghost Valley. Heogwak, whose face is neither that of a man nor a woman, brightly smiles and warmly pats my back. Congratulations on becoming a disciple of Black Ghost Valley. What's your name? After a moment of contemplation, I awkwardly smile and say, my name is Seoli. Translator notes, Seoli is Seo Rip in the Ross. It's a reference to Yuan Li. As everyone knows by now, our MC's naming sense is quite questionable. Also, extra chapter cause of the spontaneous poll I did a while back if some of you remember. Chapter 285, my name is 2. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 285, my name is 2. Damn it, what's Seoli? After Heogwak asked for my name, I blurted out in a panic. But after thinking about it for a moment, it seems like there could not be a worse name. Worried that Heogwak might know Yuan Li, I avoided using the surname Yuan. So I said the first thing that came to mind, and the worst name possible came out. Damn it, it's too late to change it now. Whether Heogwak knows what I am thinking or not, he laughs heartily and says, Seoli. The Seo family has always been full of talented individuals. I once tried to recruit a member of the Seo family to the sect, but failed. Truly, that person was the incarnation of talent. Huh, is that so? I awkwardly laugh, thinking I know who he is talking about. Well, anyway, thanks to the newly installed Flying Immortal platform, we will continue to expand our recruitment of talents. For now, you follow this child. Woo-woom. As Heogwak waves his sleeve, a pitch-black ghost flies out from within. Take this one to the entrance hall. Woo-woom. The ghost nods as if it understands and starts flying off somewhere. Then I'll see you later. Follow him. Yes, senior. After seeing off Heogwak, I follow the ghost he released. Is this the interior of Black Ghost Valley? It's my first time at Black Ghost Valley, and it feels intriguing. A vast valley. Inside, through narrow paths that number by the dozens, hundreds, even thousands, the ghost manages to find the right path to guide me. After following the ghost for a while, I arrive in front of a small pavilion marked entrance hall. The ghost growls lightly as if telling me to follow, and I enter the building ahead. Inside, I'm startled by a bizarre sight. In front of a black wooden desk within the entrance hall, sits a pristine white skeleton busy at work. Grand perfection nascent soul stage. No, the skeleton seems a bit beyond the nascent soul stage, almost stepping into the heavenly being stage. Although slightly shocked, I speak to the skeleton remembering the first time I met Songjin. However, before I can start talking, the ghost that guided me flies next to the skeleton's skull and seems to whisper something to it. The language they use is neither the language of the demon race nor the common language of the bright cold realms heaven tribe. They don't even use vocal cords to begin with, so I can't understand their language. After they exchange a few words among themselves, they both look at me. The skeleton gestures towards me. Soon, it speaks familiar words in the common language of the heaven tribe. So, you came up through the 13th Flying Immortal platform? Yes, that's correct. The 13th Flying Immortal platform is newly created, so it's not fully developed yet. Normally, when an ascender comes up through a Flying Immortal platform, we immediately trace the attraction to find out where the ascender came from. But the 13th Flying Immortal platform doesn't have that feature yet. That's why I have to ask you directly. The skeleton's eye sockets light up with ghost fire as he questions me. Which lower realm are you from? Seeing his ghost fire, I realize that this is some sort of consciousness method. It's similar to the wonderfully mysterious innate heart canon. It's a method that can see the color of intent. There really are all sorts of methods. Thinking it's fascinating, I control my intent and answer. They call it the astral realm, a small star within it. What's the name of the star? It's called Earth. You're also from Earth? It nods as it writes something on a paper, and I, thinking of Kong Mini, ask it, are there others from Earth besides me? However, at my question, the skeleton chuckles and says, if you ask the ascenders from the astral realm where they're from, 7 out of 10 will say they're from Earth. Those who name their star Roundland, D2 Earth, aren't just 1 or 2. Do you think there are only 1 or 2 Earths in the astral realm? It's an issue I hadn't even considered, so I'm momentarily dumbfounded. Anyway, it seems true enough, so let's move on. Once again, what is your name? Xioli is my name. Right, Xioli. And your gender? I am. Fush. I, along with John Myung-hoon and Hong Fan, fly for several days and finally arrive in the human race territory. Are we going directly to Heavenly Human Island? To John Myung-hoon's question, I shake my head. I'm going, but you can't. You should first head to Thunder Spirit Island with Hong Fan and Yunjin. If there's anything to salvage from the remains of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, take care of it. You're going alone? Yes. It's easier to escape alone if needed. John Myung-hoon nods. Okay, then let's meet later. If you escape, where should we meet? Come to the Light Spirit Pond in the Cold Spirit Race territory. We'll see each other there. After setting our plan, we part ways. I fly quickly and reach Heavenly Human Island. Because it's the main headquarters of the Human Race Grand Alliance, it has a stronger barrier than any other Sky Island. And because the integration stage Grand Cultivators are seriously injured, the barrier is even more fortified than usual. There are even checkpoints that weren't usually there. Passing Heavenly Being Taoist. To enter Heavenly Human Island, you need a pass and a reason for entry. I glance at the Grand Perfection Heavenly Being Cultivator at the checkpoint and, without responding, hold the colorless glass sword and conjure the 3 great ultimates behind me. Boom. Quam. Instantly, I blow a hole right through the barrier. I bypass the stuttering Heavenly Being Cultivator and head to a place on Heavenly Human Island. Heavenly Human Island's Heavenly Cauldron Mountain. Usually, 7 Grand Cultivators of the human race reside there. There are 9 Grand Cultivators of the human race. Grand Perfection Integration Stage Black Dragon King from the Allied Black Dragon race, Hein, EUM. Early Integration Stage Palace Lord of Penglai Palace and Heaven Earth Palace, Han 1. Grand Perfection Integration Stage Leader of the Human Race Grand Alliance, Jun Jae. Early Integration Stage responsible for overseeing the entire human race, Y Ryangxian. Mid-Integration Stage and Master of the Entering Truth Gate, Gi Jin. Mid-Integration Stage and Master of the Heavenly Lotus Sect, Young Yan. Early Integration Stage and Chief Military Strategist of the Human Race Grand Alliance, Y Su. Late Integration Stage Hermit Cultivator, Gol Make. Integration Stage Cultivator Shrouded in Secrecy, Tae Yeol John. These 9 are the pillars holding up the Human Race Grand Alliance. However, Tae Yeol John, known only as an Integration Stage Cultivator, hardly attends the Council of Grand Cultivators, and the Black Dragon King doesn't participate in actual human race meetings since he is only treated as an ally. Therefore, it's accurate to say that the Human Race Grand Alliance is practically run by the 7, centered around the leader Jun Jae, military strategist Y Su, and overseer Y Ryangxian, along with Han 1, Gol Make, Young Yun, and Gi Jin. I increase my speed as I fly towards Heavenly Cauldron Mountain to meet them. Far off, the Heavenly Cauldron Mountain, where spiritual energy gathers shining with pure white, catches my eye. The residence of Integration Stage Cultivators. But as I try to enter Heavenly Cauldron Mountain, something is off. No matter how much I fly, the distance to Heavenly Cauldron Mountain doesn't seem to get any closer. I realize I am passing the same place again. Am I going in circles? It isn't that my sense of direction is off. My senses are fine. That leads to only one explanation. The space is warped. The space, warped like a barrier, is preventing undesirables from entering. The way to cross such a space is simple. Those at the 4-axis stage or above can use axis techniques to fold space and move through it. However, though my power is at the integration stage, the capabilities I can use are limited to the Heavenly Being stage. My current abilities are insufficient to straighten the warped space. What should be done then? If all I have is strength, then using strength is the way to go. It's simple logic. Kagugagu. I put strength into my hand holding the colorless glass sword. Lifting the colorless glass sword with all my might, I bring it crashing down. The bent space is caught in my senses. The plane is terribly distorted. Kadujuguk. Just like that, the space rips open, and the twisted space carves a path. Calmly, I enter the interior following the flow of the dragon vein that reaches deep inside Heavenly Cauldron Mountain. And when I arrive in front of Heavenly Cauldron Mountain, Pabababat. Faint projections block my path. A total of 6 projections. All the Grand Cultivators except Han 1, who resides in Heaven Earth Palace, and the enigmatic Grand Cultivator Tae Yeol John, send their projections. A familiar face speaks to me. It's Y Ryangxian. How dare you step foot into Heavenly Cauldron Mountain, the sacred site of the Human Race Grand Alliance, so carelessly? I smirk and reply, I wish to receive a cave residence on Heavenly Cauldron Mountain and came to ask for permission from the Grand Cultivators of Heavenly Cauldron Mountain. Their eyebrows twitch at my words. You know the conditions for receiving a cave residence on Heavenly Cauldron Mountain, correct? Yes. Either you are a Grand Cultivator at the integration stage, or you represent a super large force equivalent to the 6 great sects of the human race. I am aware it's one of the two. You know well. You are not a Grand Cultivator, just a heavenly being stage cultivator. I grin. I do not seek a cave residence as a grand cultivator. Then what is it exactly? Can't a super large force take a cave residence on its own? You mean to say you have the backing of a force equivalent to the 5 great sects of the human race? No. Then, I, as an individual, am equivalent to the 5 great sects. Stunned by my audacious statement, the grand cultivators are momentarily speechless. Why Ryongxian speaks again. You are arrogant. Is that so? Do you know that Han 1 has reissued a bounty on you? A substantial bounty has been placed by Penglai Palace, and your crimes are clearly listed. One of the charges is your unauthorized escape from the Flying Immortal platform. Well, I had already registered my name under the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect at Temporal Fate Island before. Why should I be bound by the Flying Immortal platform then? That's the procedure. Even if you ascend again after descending to the lower realm, the procedure is necessary. And you descended to the lower realm without even notifying the Grand Alliance, acting on your own initiative. That alone is a crime. And you even went so far as to hide the Void Spirit Pond in the True Devil Realm for years, obstructing the conquest of the True Devil Realm. This is a grave offense. Is that so? The fact that you entered Heavenly Mountain today, where there is a Grand Cultivator meeting, without permission, you have too many charges. Even speaking with you like this is a mercy. I smile slightly at Wai Ryongxian's threatening words. After entering tribulating heavens, even though it's just a projection, I can somewhat see his intent. Reading the intents of the other Grand Cultivators besides Wai Ryongxian, I can understand why they are treating me this way. That's how it is. Feeling even more confident about their intents, I speak to Wai Ryongxian. Then, no need for further mercy. Let's see about my punishment. What? Punishment? Let's see you impose it. At my words, Wai Ryongxian stares at me quietly. And our standoff continues for a while. None of them dare to attack me first. It seems they all suffered quite a bit from the owner of heavenly punishment. Normally, it should have been their real bodies coming down, not just threatening me with projections. Just then, the leader of the Human Race Grand Alliance and head of the Grand Cultivator meeting, the Grand Perfection Integration Stage Grand Cultivator, known as Jun Jie, steps forward. Inspector Wai Ryongxian, you are to arrest Seo Eunhyun. Once Seo Eunhyun is captured, a trial will be held immediately to determine the punishment. Upon hearing this, Wai Ryongxian's expression hardens, and he vanishes from the spot abruptly. Shortly after Wai Ryongxian's projection disappears, the space split, and a man wearing a featureless white mask appears from beyond the space. Wai Ryongxian, the true body. Kagugugu. An immense pressure bears down on me. Simultaneously, the projections of the other 5 Grand Cultivators soar into the air and each stretch out their hands somewhere. The space around suddenly expands. The stage is set for a showdown between me and Wai Ryongxian. I can feel his gaze from behind the faceless mask. I provoke Wai Ryongxian. The energy I feel from you seems to be at the 4-axis stage. Are you in a lot of pain? Do your joints ache? Wai Ryongxian, who had been staring at me, grins. Indeed, I sustained critical injuries after directly facing the entity that descended upon Thunder Spirit Island last time. My condition is still far from good. Admitting it so readily? As I express surprise, Wai Ryongxian continues speaking. Despite that, do you know why I had to step forward among us? Please enlighten me. At my words, Wai Ryongxian reaches towards the sky. Simultaneously, I feel a surge of energy from beyond the sky and instinctively step back. Kagugugu. From afar. From a very distant place, enormous energy is being emitted and transmitted in this direction. Pat. Hundreds of beams of light strike down from the sky. I trace back the closest beam that falls to determine its origin. Wai Ryongxian's avatar. Grand Cultivator Wai Ryongxian dispatched his avatars across various areas of the human race to monitor the overall situation. Moreover, since Heavenly Human Island is incredibly large, about 3 of his avatars besides his main body were dispatched there. Those 3 avatars are currently merging into the dragon veins of Heavenly Human Island, transferring the power of the island's dragon veins to the main body of Wai Ryongxian. The identities of the other beams are likely the same. The avatars of Wai Ryongxian dispatched to other sky islands are melting their respective dragon veins and transferring that power to him. Kagugugu. I marvel in astonishment as I watch Wai Ryongxian receiving the power of all the human race's sky islands' dragon veins. His aura, which was merely at the 4-axis level, is rapidly increasing. If it's this much, in a short-term battle, I can reach my peak condition. The next moment, boom, enveloped in the flying escape technique, he charges at me with a 7-colored fan in one hand. I'll straighten out your crooked head. Roo-roo-roo. Flames engulf everything. The 7-colored flames spread in all directions, instantly turning the expanded space into a sea of 7-colored fire. And I summon the 3 great ultimates. A worthy opponent indeed. The next moment, Quang, my colorless glass sword has already pierced through Wai Rangxian's throat. As if not understanding what just happened, he looks shockingly surprised. I observe him continually recharging his energy, my eyes shining with anticipation. Give it your all. Ah, a gook. Quang. Flinging him aside as if swatting a fly, I bare my teeth in a grin. I might accidentally kill you. You. That power. Quang. Kicking off the void, I charge at Wai Rangxian like a predator in a frozen world. I wonder if he had gambled his way up to the position of an integration stage Grand Cultivator. Using the flying escape technique, he begins to move nimbly in the frozen world. But he is too slow. Boom. Flash. With my colorless glass sword overlaid with the formless sword, I slice through his upper body. I then steady my stance and thrust 106 penetrating sword strikes towards him again. Yet, he can't even react. This. Your power, the power of the Heart Tribe. Heaven, Earth, Heart, Mad Lord, Gay. These 4 pillars of power supply me with a volcanic force. I amplify this power through General Co's circuits, relentlessly pushing him back. Ard, soon losing even the leisure to speak, Wai Rangxian focuses solely on following my attacks with his eyes as we exchange blows. At that moment, whoosh, Wai Rangxian, having gathered his energy, casts the flying escape technique even faster and suddenly moves from in front of me to a distance far away. I instantly extend the formless sword towards him, now 2,000 li away. The formless sword rushes like lightning, but the transfer of power is somewhat diminished by the distance. And Wai Rangxian, having withstood my strike, begins to form hand seals. The real battle begins now. You damned Heart Tribe spy. Die. Simultaneously, countless clones spring from Wai Rangxian's shadow. Each one is at the level of a heavenly being stage, densely surrounding him. Oh, even if it's a kind of spell technique and meant for short-term use. These unstable clones won't last long. However, the moment the number of heavenly being stage clones surpass 300 million, I can't help but burst into hollow laughter. Kagugugu. The clones disperse in all directions, forming hand seals. He's trying to set up a formation. Severing mountain swordsmanship. Layered mountains. Kagugugu. The formless sword spreads across heaven and earth, turning into a massive thorn bush that could envelop the world. Each thorn and bush possess the force to split mountain ranges, literally capable of grinding through layers of mountains. The clones of Wai Rangxian begin to burst one by one under the onslaught of the formless sword. But that is not the end. I draw all 3,000 colorless glass swords and spread them out in the air. The formless sword is imbued within the colorless glass swords. Wai Rangxian's clones begin to form more clones. And those clones again begin to produce more clones. And the clones gather to form their own formations. In the formations, their power is amplified. Severing mountain swordsmanship. 3,000 lights emerging peak. Kagugugu. 3,000 colorless glass swords. From those colorless glass swords, 3,000 strands of formless sword energy spread. 9 million streaks of sword energy sweep forward. The clones struck by the sword energy burst all at once. Severing mountain swordsmanship. Bouldered cliff. The 9 million strands of sword energy, converging and clumped together, shake and thrash wildly in all directions. Storms of sword energy erupt here and there, sweeping away Wai Rangxian's clones. Whoosh. One of his clones fly towards me and reaches out its hand. I simply burst the avatar with a slash of sword energy. That's when it happens. Habit. The clone and Wai Rangxian's true body swaps places. Wai Rangxian's true body swing the 7-colored fan at me. Rurururu. Flames hotter than lava melt the earth as they rush towards me. I quickly dash towards him, swinging my hand. But once again, Wai Rangxian switches places with a clone. Annoying. If this continues, it'll be an endless game of tag. I'll sweep them all away. Severing mountain swordsmanship. Severing mountain. Kagugugu. 3,000 colorless glass swords, guided by my will, each begin to unfold the severing mountain swordsmanship imbued with the formless sword. 3,000 severing mountains fill the heavens and the earth, crashing in every direction. As light flickers, Wai Rangxian's clones are obliterated in an instant. That is when, I notice the energies amplified by the formation created from Wai Rangxian's clones converging into one point. There. That's where the main body is. Just as I'm about to unleash my attack in that direction. Wai Rangxian begins to expand his domain from there. His domain quickly envelopes me, and I suddenly find myself in a world filled with colorful masks. Flash. Suddenly, a mask next to me transforms into Wai Rangxian and charges at me. Kagugugu. The 7-colored fan he holds seems to sear red, then swiftly turns yellow, white, and blue. A bright blue flame engulfs me. This flame is incomparably more powerful than the previous flames. Baring my teeth, I reach out my hand. Crack. I break through the flames and approach Xian, grabbing him as he shows a startled expression. I was wondering, when you deploy your domain. What? 4-4-axis cultivators. The heavenly circle and earthly bearings need to be split in order to die. But you grand cultivators die only when the domain, born from the united heavenly circle and earthly bearings, is destroyed. So, I fling my sword towards the flustered Xian. He switches places with a clone, but my sword bursts through the clone and digs into his domain. Qualong. Just as the head realm's dimensional barrier crumbled under my sword, Xian's domain crumbles under my strike. The 4-axis stage's 4-axis canopy felt soft, like cutting through water. But the domain of the integration stage is definitely different. A dimensional barrier in itself. Impressive. I tear through Xian's dimensional barrier while laughing. Intent floats around inside his domain, revealing his emotions. The domain is filled with the intent of pain. Xian's clones all charge at me simultaneously. Outside the domain, they are of the heavenly being stage, but inside, each is of the early 4-axis stage. Moreover, each is using the flying escape technique at the integration level as they rush towards me. But, too slow. Quang. Xian's domain crumbles under one strike of my sword. Compared to Kim Young-hoon. Quang. The domain is torn apart by a second strike. Compared to Han 1. Zhong. With the third strike, countless clones explode, and a hole is blown through the domain as if it's a dimensional barrier itself. Continuously, repeatedly delivering strikes to the domain itself. I cleave away the countless clones and gradually head towards Xian's main body. He continues to switch places with his clones while fleeing far within the domain. And from afar, he shoots blue flames at me, but I am gradually closing in on him. Severing mountain swordsmanship. Foolish old man moves mountains. Quang. The slash explodes massively, shattering Xian's rushing clones all at once, and his domain is tattered everywhere. I reach an extreme speed in an instant and charge towards Xian. He switches places with a clone again. It's confusing to read intent within the domain. With the vision of the heart tribe alone, it would be impossible to recognize where he is. However, through the perception I acquired from Kim Young-hoon, I determine where he is trying to switch. Pot. As soon as he starts to switch with another clone, I change direction and arrive in front of Xian. I strike down with my sword. Quang. An explosion scatters, and the Xian's entire domain trembles. Behind his half-destroyed mask, he meets my eyes with a pale, shocked expression. Cook. He is barely holding off my colorless glass sword with his 7-colored fan. However, my sword is gradually digging into his Dharma treasure. Well then, I extend 7 pairs of wings from behind. Take care. As the energy of Azure Wing Heavenly Shatter is being loaded into my colorless glass sword, ready to split his Dharma treasure and Xian himself in two. Whoosh. Stop right there. Someone places a hand on my shoulder. Grand Perfection Integration Stage. It's Jun Jae, the head of the Human Race Grand Alliance. I'm startled by the touch on my flesh. The Grand Alliance leader brought his true body. I didn't notice. As I break out in a cold sweat, he claps his hands. Clap. At the sound of his clapping, Xian immediately retracts his domain and takes back his Dharma treasure into his mouth. Right. Congratulations. You have proven your qualifications. I too reabsorb the colorless glass swords back into my mouth and step back. Next time, please be careful with the shoulder. Haha, understood. Anyway, does anyone doubt Seo Eun-hyun's capabilities now? Suddenly, the integration stage Grand Cultivators, not just projections, but their main bodies, are watching from around. None here. I am satisfied. The future of the human race looks bright. Mastering the Heart Tribe's techniques to this extent, it will be very beneficial for the study of the Heart Path method. Everyone gives me positive evaluations. I smile, realizing the intent I had read earlier was correct. They had been testing me from the start. Jun Jae looks at Xian and asks, Grand Cultivator Xian, what do you think? Xian, dusting off his body, replies, exceptional. This child will be the new future of the human race. Jun Jae laughs heartily. Congratulations. Except for Han 1 and Tae Yeol-jon who are not present, more than half of the Grand Cultivators of the Human Race Grand Alliance have recognized you. His words confirm that I have finally been acknowledged by them. Congratulations on passing the test safely. You've worked hard up until now. Only good things will await you in the future. I respectfully bow. From now on, we look forward to your support, Grand Cultivator CEO. Chapter 286, My Name is 3. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 286, My Name is 3. So my main body has become a Grand Cultivator. I'm currently sitting next to the entrance of Black Ghost Valley, in a place called the Grand Ghost Cave, meditating, and receiving signals from my main body. It's strange to even say main body, since my main body and I are currently sharing all senses, thoughts, and emotions. There really is no distinction between us. No, the name is different. Co Li, what a terribly dreadful name I've come up with spontaneously. No matter how many times I think about it, it's a name that brings a sense of dread and self-loathing. Should I just wait here? Yes, just wait a bit in the Grand Ghost Cave. Understood. The white skeleton nascent soul stage cultivator guarding the entrance, Beck Jean, leads another man into the Grand Ghost Cave, who looks around and sits next to me. The energy he emits is at the early nascent soul stage. Ah, Senior, are you also here to enter Black Ghost Valley? I had heard from Beck Jean that typically, if someone at the Heavenly Being stage is an ascender, they are given the position of Elder of the Black Ghost Valley after they swear loyalty. Trust built at the Elder position leads to becoming a Grand Elder. However, Co Li is still at the mid-nascent soul stage, so he can't be directly given the Elder position. So instead, they offered to let him take a test to become a disciple of the Black Ghost Valley's Yin Soul, Yinhua. The hierarchy in Black Ghost Valley is divided into 5 stages. Qi refining disciples are called Gate Spirits, Munling. Qi building disciples are called Corpse Spirits, Sirling. Those showing talent in Qi building are called Corpse Souls, Siran. Core Formation disciples are called Ghost Souls, Gyan. Nascent Soul disciples are called Yin Souls, Yinfuan. This is the disciple hierarchy of Black Ghost Valley. And the nascent soul disciples who are likely to reach the Heavenly Being stage and who demonstrate high potential are called Law Protectors, Hufa. Heavenly Being cultivators are called Elders, Changlok. Those in the Heavenly Being stage who show high trust or loyalty, or have made significant contributions to the sect, and those likely to reach the 4-axis stage are given the position of Grand Elder, Yunlok. From the middle boundary upwards, the hierarchy is determined by color. 4-axis stage are called Black Grand Elders, Regressor. Integration stage are called Blue Grand Elders, Lansur. Star-shattering stage are called Azure Grand Elders, Qingser. According to what I heard, Azure Grand Elders do not exist in the Bright Cold Realm, but rather in the Nether Ghost Realm, where the main sect of Black Ghost Valley is located. And if what Jangik said in my past life is true, there should currently be no Azure Grand Elders even in the Nether Ghost Realm. They must have been dispatched on an expedition to find Yang Sujin's decaying corpse realm. Black Ghost Valley also has a deep history and foundation. In sects like Azure Heaven Creation Sect or Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect, the hierarchy only goes up to the 4-axis stage at best, but Black Ghost Valley has a hierarchy up to the Star-shattering stage. And, currently, I was told that if I passed the entrance test of Black Ghost Valley, I would be directly accepted as a Yin Soul disciple. Normally, outsiders, even if they are at the Grand Perfection Nascent Soul stage, must prove their abilities by taking the Ghost Soul Disciple test to enter, unless proven otherwise. However, since I had ascended at the mid-nascent soul stage, they are allowing me to take the test appropriate for the Yin Soul level. However, there is one annoying aspect of this examination. Haha, Cultivator CO. So, when this Hio Namquan was fighting that monster, to take the Yin Soul test, at least 5 participants are required, and so far, aside from the talkative Hio Namquan and me, no one else is ready to take the test. Thanks to this, while my main body was thriving and receiving the title of Grand Cultivator, I had to keep waiting in this damp and rotten-smelling Grand Ghost Cave, listening to Hio Namquan's nonsense. He's said to be a descendant of the Black Grand Elder Hio Ryong's side branch. It was said that, similar to the Head Realm's Chongmun clan, the main family pays no attention to this side branch. However, this side branch family member somehow stood out and successfully reached the early nascent soul stage, being specially admitted to take the Yin Soul test. Haha. In fact, I was really debating whether to join Black Ghost Valley or the Yin Soul Ghost sect among the 6 great sects. I glance at Hio Namquan, who is chattering annoyingly, and sigh inwardly. His intent is a light pink color. What does this guy think my gender is? It seems like he's trying something because of Yuan Yu's beauty. Even though one of our distant ancestors was a ghost devil, they were from over 30 generations ago. In fact, recently, the Yin Soul Ghost sect has been beating Black Ghost Valley in the competition. I wasn't even considering Black Ghost Valley, but, haha, suddenly Black Ghost Valley overwhelmed and merged with the Yin Soul Ghost sect, turning the 6 great sects into the 5 great sects. 5 great sects of the human race, huh? Indeed. Around the time we were facing the heavenly tribulation on Thunder Spirit Island, Black Ghost Valley used the Nether Crossing ship brought up from the lower realm to successfully merge the Yin Soul Ghost sect into Black Ghost Valley. I had only known them as the 6 great human sects, but in reality, they had become the 5 great human sects. Well, I heard that the Een Soul Ghost sect was originally a devilish sect lineage that split from Black Ghost Valley. Since they were originally one, there wasn't a big problem with merging. Hem. Anyway, Mississippi, I get annoyed by Hio Nam Kwan's advances and glare at him as I speak. We're not even close, what miss? And I never said I was a woman. Ah no. Hio Nam Kwan seems greatly shocked by my response and staggers backward from me. That face, you're saying it's not that of a woman. I've never really cared about Yuan Yu's face, but this is incredibly uncomfortable. I ponder what to do for a moment, then touch my face. Wawoom. The devilish energy of the blood demon suppressing sea light covers my face, and a black fog-like mask, similar to the one Yuan Li wore, covers my face. Damn, now I really feel like I've become Yuan Li. In fact, it's no different from when I had switched to Yuan Yu's body during the 10th cycle. I feel particularly disgusted by that fact. I hate using this disgusting black devil mask spell. I should just buy a mask to wear. As soon as I put on the black mask, Hio Nam Kwan feels as if there's no chance for conversation with me and shrinks into a corner of the Grand Ghost Cave. How long have I waited in the Grand Devil Cave? After 3 days. Step. Beck Jean leads 3 people into the Grand Ghost Cave. Now, it seems we have enough people. Shall we proceed with the entrance test with you 5, or shall we wait for more to join? 5 is the minimum number required, so you can wait or proceed now. However, if you fail this time, you'll only be able to enter as Ghost Soul disciples, not Een Soul. A bald man with tattoos and muscles, a man in black robes resembling a corpse, and a woman in white mourning clothes resembling a ghost maiden. The bald tattooed man is at the late nascent soul stage, and the corpse-like man and the ghostly maiden are at the grand perfection nascent soul stage. The bald tattooed man looks back and forth between me and Hio Nam Kwan, then clicks his tongue and says, "Mid-nascent soul stage? Look at that, the other is at the early stage. Rather than taking the test with these weak ones, it might be better to wait for 2 more. The corpse-like man says nothing, and the ghostly maiden just giggles like a madwoman. Fake madness. Knowing the madness of the Mad Lord, the weak craziness exhibited by the ghostly maiden seems very clumsy. What's this? Why is everyone so quiet? It's Hio Nam Kwan who responds to the bald man's words. Hey, I don't know how great you think you are. Kwong. And then, the bald man charges at Hio Nam Kwan in an instant and blows his head off. Hio Nam Kwan regenerates his head while writhing in pain, and the bald man laughs while looking at me. Can't even endure this much pain. How about you? You also have no objections to waiting for 2 more, right? As he raises his fist towards me, I let out a chuckle. Sorry, but I was the first to arrive at the Grand Ghost Cave, and I've waited quite a long time. I don't feel like waiting anymore. I'll help you learn some patience. Boom. He kicks off the ground and charges towards me. He practiced body refining techniques. His physique is visibly robust. However, I remain calm and extend my arm, effortlessly deflecting his punch using a force diverting technique. What? While he's confused, I use the grasping hand technique and twist his arms behind him to subdue him. Baduduk. Aort. For someone who complained about not being able to endure the pain of having one's head smashed, you sure are melodramatic. The people I know would have either pulled out their arm or cut it off to escape. Do you not even have the guts? Typically, cultivators from the head realm would have cut off the trapped part of their body immediately to escape, like a lizard shedding a part of its body, unless they were seized by the testicles. But it seems he isn't from the head realm, as he didn't display such resilience. You bastard. KRRK. A powerful corpse energy erupts from his body, trying to push me away, but I inject the devilish energy of blood demon suppressing sea light into his body, blocking his spiritual veins instead. As the sticky, blood-colored devilish energy clogs his spiritual vein, the bald tattooed man fails to muster his energy and is subdued by me. Stay put. You. I bend down to meet his eyes. Behind the black devil mask, my eyes glint menacingly. He's probably seeing Yuan Yu's eyes flickering red from behind the black mask. Before I kill you. He freezes up, facing my killing intent, far beyond what a typical cultivator at the heavenly being stage could even muster. I've been through many battles. Though Co Li is my avatar, the murderous intent displayed just now is far more than what any nascent soul stage cultivator can handle. He sweats coldly, avoiding my gaze, and I turn to look at the other grand perfection nascent soul cultivators who are watching the scene with interest. My undisguised killing intent meets the eyes of the corpse-like man and the woman in mourning clothes. Do either of you have any objections to taking the test with the current number of people? The corpse-like man awkwardly smiles as he faces my glinting eyes, forcing his corpse-like expression away, and the woman in mourning clothes straightens up and smiles politely, as if cured of her madness. No objections. Me neither. I look at Hio Nam Kwan. He too seems to feel my killing intent, turning as pale as a corpse. I too am very satisfied. I collect the unanimous opinions and relay them to Baek-jin. It seems everyone is eager to proceed with the test. Baek-jin nods as he observes us and says, "Then, let's begin the Black Ghost Valley entrance test. Follow me." He leads us somewhere with his hands behind his back, and following him through the inner part of the valley, we soon arrive at a place filled with thorny vines. I recognize the true nature of the thorny vines, and my eyes shine with understanding. Suddenly, Baek-jin, who had been guiding us, disappears from in front of us. It seems we have entered a formation. The test is simple. Baek-jin's voice fills the space crowded with brambles. The thorny vines in front of you are a specially crafted kind of curse. If the 5 of you combine your strengths to escape this cursed space, the test will be passed. Quack. Before Baek-jin can finish speaking, I grab a stem of the vines. Curse Reversal. Chapter 287, My Name is 4. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 287, My Name is 4. Do-do-do-do-do-do. The entire space trembles. I realize that the curse of the vine I am holding is connected to the formation spread throughout the space. As the curse is reversed, the formation that had been perfectly aligned with the curse begins to be thoroughly shaken. Whoosh! The withered, twisted vines writhe wildly, and new shoots begin to sprout from various thorns. After a while, dazzling white flowers blossom from within the buds. And then, suddenly, boom! A brilliant burst of light sweeps in all directions, scattering white petals everywhere, and the thorny vines disappear without a trace. Along with them, the formation that had been established in space appears to gradually dismantle, and before we know it, we are inside a small pupil about 3 zhang in diameter. In front of us, Baek-jin is kneeling and staggering. Kek. Cuff, damn it. An extreme righteous, Jijung, method with the attribute of suppressing devils, Shangmo. You. How do you have such a method while also practicing devilish arts? No, even if you had learned a devil-suppressing technique, without understanding the curse, you should never have broken it. It seems that he is directly connected to the formation. Baek-jin staggers while spewing out white energy from his mouth. I grin and say, if you attain extreme devilry, Jimwo, you might also see the path to liberation from it. So that was not an extreme righteousness method? Well, I understand. Just remember one thing. He glares at me, his eyes blazing with fury. In the Black Ghost Valley, those who practice devilish arts are the vast majority, so using such demon-suppressing techniques is forbidden. This was your first time, and since you weren't warned, I'll let it pass. But be careful. Understood. So, are we disqualified because I used that method just now? Of course not. You all have passed with the highest scores. Bususisis. I'm startled. Baek-jin's body begins to crumble into white powder. Gradually, his voice turns into a spiritual echo and resonates through the space. Since you have succeeded in killing the examiner, you are all now soul disciples. Since the death happened so senselessly, the next procedures will be guided by this guy. Crack. With those words, Baek-jin flicks his sleeve, summons a ghost, and then crumbles to death. I stand there dumbfounded, confused. He's dead. He was so calm I thought he was just tired and going to sleep. However, unlike my confusion, the other cultivators look at me with eyes of admiration. It's remarkable, fellow cultivator. To kill an examiner. The examiners of Black Ghost Valley are all famously stronger than those of the same realm, and to kill an examiner who had reached the threshold of the heavenly being stage in one go. I was rude earlier. I apologize. Surrounded by these completely different tones, I feel bewildered. Just then, all 5 of you, please follow me. I will distribute the soul disciple plaques. The ghost that came from Baek-jin's sleeve speaks to us, emitting a dark, ghostly energy. Let's all receive our identity plaques for now. I follow the ghost, hiding my confusion. The ghost leads us back the way we had come. Are we going back to the entrance? I cautiously ask the ghost while following. By any chance, am I going to be punished for killing a law enforcer of Black Ghost Valley? No. Sir Baek-jin simply died because his training was insufficient. You need not worry. Isn't that a loss of strength for the sect? All right. Sir Seoli, you did say you ascended. You must be unaware about the situation in Black Ghost Valley. The expressions of the other 4 turn into shock. He's an ascender? How could a body at the nascent soul stage withstand the spatial pressure? I heard that there are terrifying monsters in the interdimensional void. Yes, you are truly remarkable. How did you ascend? May I ask about your experience at the time of ascension? In the sects I had joined so far, there was not much direct interaction with disciples native from the bright cold realm, and since the sect itself was a group that had ascended collectively, there was little concern for individual ascenders. However, it appears that individual ascenders are highly valued in the bright cold realm, especially in cases like Yuan Yu, who ascended while still in the nascent soul stage. Wondering what to tell them, I decided to keep it brief due to the length of the explanation. We shall discuss it later. After saying so, I wait for the ghost's response. Why are they so nonchalant about me killing Jin? Then, I can only be astonished by the ghost's next words. Starting from Ghost Soul Disciples, we offer 2 resurrection opportunities within Black Ghost Valley itself. Using the Nether Crossing ship or Black Ghost Valley's special grand formation, resurrection isn't difficult. Of course, the higher the cultivation, the more resources resurrection consumes, so for Black Grand Elders and above, one must handle their own resurrection. They provide resurrection opportunities? The ghost speaks as if it's nothing serious, leaving me dumbfounded. Moreover, if the Nether Crossing ship has the ability to resurrect. Only now do I understand why the Mad Lord was so obsessed with stealing the power source of the Nether Crossing ship. A Nether Crossing ship with a power source is, in itself, a divine artifact with resurrection capabilities. But, seeing her state, there seems to be a limit. As I'm startled, the bald tattooed man smiles amicably and says, "Did you not know, fellow cultivator? It makes sense not to know if you ascended. Apart from Black Ghost Valley, all the major human race great sects are backed by grand cultivators at the integration stage or by the Dragon King himself. One of the reasons Black Ghost Valley is part of the major sects without having an integration stage grand cultivator is its undying aspect. Undying. Don't most who practice devilish arts possess that? It doesn't just mean strong regenerative abilities. The devilish cultivators of Black Ghost Valley are famous for their incredibly tough lifelines. In Black Ghost Valley, minor boundary cultivators are offered 1 resurrection through the valley's grand formation and 1 through the Nether Crossing ship. After that, if you learn a few special methods of the valley, you can be resurrected in the form of a corpse, and if you die in that form, you can be resurrected again using a method that allows you to take over someone else's body. When you can no longer be resurrected, you can be sealed inside the shrine within the Nether Crossing ship in the form of a Ghost King, continuing your life in this world. In the form of a Ghost King, it's even harder to be killed, and even if you do manage to be killed, there's a technique that allows you to remain in this world in the form of a lingering soul, making it even harder to truly die. I'm astounded by his explanation. This puts Yuan Li to shame. The bald tattooed man is clearly someone trying to enter the Black Ghost Valley from the outside. In short, the number of resurrections known by outsiders are comparable to Yuan Li. This means that the elders and grand elders likely have even more than 7 lives, perhaps even up to 14 resurrections. And while I am thinking this, I discover one terrifying truth. Then, the talk about the Mad Lord destroying 1/3 of the Black Ghost Valley. That means he had exhausted all those insane amounts of resurrections and ultimately smashed the Nether Crossing ships. This is utter madness. Shivering, I recall Song Jin, who remained in the form of a lingering soul, and I can't even begin to estimate how many times he had been killed by the Mad Lord. Yes, our Black Ghost Valley is known to have a history older than the Bright Cold Realm. Considering the Bright Cold Realm's history is just shy of 490,000 years, the power and history we've accumulated over such a long time is truly something great. It seems so. I follow the ghost to the entrance of the valley, where I engrave my name on a dark blue jade plaque distributed by the ghost. Holding the dark blue jade plaque inscribed with Co. Li, I feel a mix of emotions. Then, please follow me. I will assign each of you a cave residence and introduce you to the sect. The ghost leads us deeper into Black Ghost Valley. As we move closer to the center of Black Ghost Valley, the ghostly energy becomes denser, and the form of the ghost guiding us becomes clearer. He's a little boy wearing a dark robe. Feeling our gaze, he speaks. "Oh, I haven't introduced myself. I am Eub Yun. In my lifetime, I was one of the Qi refining initiates of Black Ghost Valley. However, 100 years ago, I lost my life due to an attack by the Een Soul Ghost sect, and my master, Jin, took me in. Now, I serve as a guide in the form of a ghost soul here at the entrance." I see. Doesn't being dead bother you? Death was painful and terrifying when I died, but I have grown quite accustomed to it now. My master also treats me well, so there are no issues. I feel strange about the Black Ghost Valley's unusual attitude towards death. How peculiar. They do not fear death, but rather become familiar with it. I follow Eub Yun to a cliff deep in the valley. This is the pride of Black Ghost Valley, the location where the divine artifacts, the Nether Crossing ships, are anchored. Looking below the cliff, there is a massive source of ghostly energy. 2 Nether Crossing ships are emitting tremendous ghostly energy, floating on pitch black water. Upon closer inspection, the black water is not real water but a congregation of a vast number of lingering souls. I frown at the sight of this congregation. Unlike Eub Yun's peaceful state, these are tormented lingering souls. As I grimace, Eub Yun points downwards. Down there are the cave residences. Please follow. We follow Eub Yun down, and are assigned cave residences carved into the cliff. Hee hee, The ghostly energy is sinister, the best environment for practicing devilish arts. Truly, this is the great black ghost valley. The corpse-like man and the bald tattooed man admire their cave residences, while the woman in mourning dress begins to laugh ominously as if her madness is returning. Hio Namquan also seems to be pleased, absorbing the surrounding ghostly energy and starting to hum a tune. Sir Sio's cave residence is here. I, too, am assigned a cave residence close to the Nether Crossing ship, where the ghostly energy is dense. Please follow me. Now that you have been assigned a cave residence, we should first go and greet the seniors of the sect. We followed Eub Yun into the Nether Crossing ship. Entering the familiar interior, I am reminded of the past. Kagugugu. The Nether Crossing ship seems alive, with ghostly energy flowing throughout. It's almost like a dragon vein itself. An intact Nether Crossing ship appears no different from a moving ascension path. After following Eub Yun for a while, we enter a deep shrine within the Nether Crossing ship. Disciple Eub Yun greets the elders. Kaya. Simultaneously, an incomprehensible ghostly wail blasts from deep within the shrine. Overwhelmed by the immense ghostly shrieking and energy, the corpse-like man is completely frozen. The bald, tattooed man adjusts his posture with proper decorum, and the woman in mourning clothes, seemingly cured of her madness, shrinks back in shock. Hio Namquan hides behind me, shivering. Yet, I just stand there smiling wryly. Everyone is getting excited. What a debacle this is. The intent flowing from deep within the shrine is filled with joy at welcoming new disciples. Sure enough, Eub Yun explains that the elders inside the shrine, the ghost kings of the Black Ghost Valley, are welcoming us. We stand in front of the shrine where the ghostly wail resounds, bow according to Eub Yun's guidance, and quickly complete the entrance ceremony of Black Ghost Valley. The entrance ceremony is now concluded. You are now honorable Een Soul disciples of the Black Ghost Valley. Eub Yun claps his hands and congratulates us. The bald tattooed man wipes the cold sweat from his head and replies, "Is that so? Thank you." It seems he wants to leave the inner shrine as soon as possible. However, contrary to his expectation, Eub Yun smiles and appears about to say something else. That is when. Has the entrance ceremony concluded? Wawoom. As the space splits, Hyogwak, the white bone ghost devil, enters the shrine. With an ambiguous appearance that makes it unclear whether he is male or female, he smiles faintly as he surveys us, then slightly squints his eyes when he sees Hio Namquan. Then, when his gaze reaches me, it immediately brightens. Well, it seems you all have entered properly. You know about me, right? I am the highest Grand Elder of the Bright Cold Realm's Black Ghost Valley branch, Black Grand Elder White Bone Ghost Devil, Hyogwak. We bow, showing respect and proper etiquette. Normally, it's customary to assign a master to disciples below Ghost Soul, but for nascent soul staging soul disciples, we use a slightly different approach. You will now choose the Ghost King you will serve and pay homage to from this point forward. Pardon. Already pale from the ghostly energy of the Ghost Kings, the bald tattooed man turns even whiter as he asks again. Hyogwak grins and continues. Traditionally in Black Ghost Valley, each person chooses a companion, known as a Ghost Path Companion. Unlike typical Dao companions, the purpose here is not yin-yang dual cultivation but to practice Ghost Path methods. Therefore, regardless of gender, everyone carries at least one ghost soul with them. However, you, having just entered as nascent soul staging soul disciples, are not suitable for ordinary ghost souls as your souls won't properly adapt to the ghost path. The bald tattooed man looks like he might faint at Hyogwak's explanation. Thus, until you choose a ghost path companion, you will house one of the ghost kings within your nascent soul to help your soul get accustomed to the ghostly energy. The bald tattooed man's appearance looks like one half of his soul flew away. However, the corpse-like man and the woman in mourning clothes seem rather pleased with this, while Hio Namquan looks slightly annoyed. Elder, do I also have to? Interrupting Hio Namquan, Hyogwak waves his hand dismissively. It's procedure. You're no exception. Yes. Then, everyone, walk towards the spirit tablets in the shrine. We all walk towards the endlessly lined spirit tablets. That's when it happens. Pat it. The scene suddenly changes. I find myself separated from the group, surrounded by a countless number of graveyards under a pitch-black night sky. Each grave is neatly marked with a tombstone. Soon after, under the dark sky, Hyogwak's voice echoes from the void. The place you have entered is Black Ghost Valley's Grand Tomb Domain, accessible only through the Nether Crossing ship's inner shrine or by special means. The souls of countless ancestors have become ghost kings and reside there. Wander around, and if a ghost king takes a liking to you, entrust your body to them. The type of ghost path method you learn will depend on the ghost king who chooses you, so be sure to present yourselves well. With that, Hyogwak's voice cuts off, and I wait momentarily before looking around. However much I look around, I see no signs of ghost kings. Is anyone there? I wander through the grand tomb domain, searching among the tombstones. But I see neither ghost kings nor even a mere minor ghost. Where are the ghost kings supposed to be? In a different space within the Black Ghost Valley's grand tomb domain, Hio Nam Quan, the bald tattooed man, the corpse-like man, and the woman in mourning dress. Except for Seoli, all of them are experiencing the same scene. Surrounded by the wildly shrieking ghostly wails of ghost kings, they collapse to the ground, vomiting blood. Kaya, Kaya, Kwaya. What in the world? As a descendant of the Hio clan, Hio Nam Quan, who naturally has a high affinity for ghost souls, looks up at the sky vomiting a handful of blood. The ghost souls that usually approached him with friendly gestures are now all radiating with madness. It's a great ghost. A great ghost has entered the grand tomb domain. Run. We have to run. We'll be eaten. The woman in white mourning dress is running around crying, trying to escape the ghost kings, and the corpse-like man screams and runs around so much that his face regains some color. The bald, tattooed man, clutching his heart, collapses from the ghostly wails, vomiting blood. Meanwhile, Hyogwak, standing with his hands behind his back outside the shrine, strokes his chin. Clunk, clunk, clunk. The spirit tablets are shaking. The spirit tablets connected to the grand tomb domain, as it turns out, are physically impossible for middle boundary cultivators to enter with their bodies. Hyogwak just laughs heartily, assuming the elders inside are just playing with the new disciples. Seeing such a strong reaction from the ancestors, it seems this batch of disciples are exceptionally talented. Eub Yun. I'm going to leave now, but once the Een Soul disciples have made their choices in the Grand Tomb domain, guide them to the method repository. Yes, Grand Elder. Hyogwak chuckles again at the rattling spirit tablets as he leaves the shrine.